Let me give you link in Discord. Do, do, do. Hi guys. This is the Shade Master channel. But I have started a new channel called the Stormin'Mormon, and it will be shared. Um, it will be shared on that channel after we're done recording. So,
Okay. I didn't know if we were live or if we were just recording. Okay, cool.
yeah. I just decided to start the stream because I do stupid things like that on occasion. Um, so actually sending Aydin the link to this stream so she can also shill it out if she is so inclined.
Yeah.
And the purpose of this stream is I came across a lovely article, not an article, a video called by the Fifth Estate, which, go ahead, Ardent, tell us what the Fifth Estate is, because I am not a Canadian.
The nicest way to say it is that the Fifth Estate is a magazine story on the Canadian Broadcasting Company, which is the state broadcaster here in Canada. The Fifth Estate, for a long time, has been one of the most respected journalist programs. And having seen this program, well, I'll hold my opinion of the program until we've watched a little bit of it. But yeah, they've been around for, I believe, around 50 years now. I think they predate me by a few years, and up until very recently, potentially even just this story, I had great respect for the accuracy and neutrality of their programming. That's changed significantly having seen this.
Yeah, I obviously I'm a Latter-day Saint, so my religion is the topic of this video. So I have a few friends. I have a
Okay.
fellow Canadian. I have a fellow Canadian here, and I have Aydin Paladin, who is I don't consider her to be a biased individual. She seems to be very data driven. She seems to be very facts based, and not insane. So,
I'm certainly not unbiased or neutral or neutral, but I do try to. I do derive my opinions largely from data.
okay.
But thank
Well,
you.
fair enough. So I expect the reactions to this to be fair. And the reason I'm doing videos like this is because I need members of my faith to understand that propaganda like this isn't necessarily received with um, the buy-in people think that it is. So, without any further ado,
Mhm.
let's go on to the hit piece, and let's see what we have here. So, let us begin, and let me know if anyone has any audio issues. Uh,
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
not hearing the video again. I apologize.
Yeah.
you're not hearing it
Oh,
again?
sorry. Yeah. No.
Okay, let me go back into the settings, see if we can fix that, because I thought we had fixed this. Um, gosh dang it. Communications array. All right. Um, all right. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah. Can hear you.
Okay. Now let's see if you can hear the video.
You may know them from that.
Yeah.
Okay. We got it. Good.
Hmm.
All right. So I'm just gonna comment real quick because so this little clip right here where they have right there where you see that tag,
Yeah.
the actual elders tags are not pins, their clips on their clip-ons. So
Mhm.
I don't know where they got this, but even the tag is fake. But again,
I
Of
kind of
course, of
figured it
course.
was.
I'm
I
nitpicking.
don't think they're going for accuracy.
Yeah.
You may know them from that knock at your door.
Could you turn it up a little bit?
I will try.
Sprawling
Oh.
iconic temples. Or maybe their nostalgic TV commercials.
Is that
There
better?
you go. Yes.
Okay.
Even the Broadway parody, The Book of Mormon, was a runaway hit. With almost 17 million members worldwide and 200,000 in Canada, the Mormon Church isn't the world's biggest religion, but it is one of the wealthiest.
The Mormon Church will have you to believe that it's a religion that dabbles in business. They are a business dabbling in religion.
People want to bang on the church and say, well, you've got all that money in reserve. Yeah, and it's a good idea for other people to follow that example.
Why does God, a God of miracles, require all this money?
But has the church built it?
You look like you want to say something, Ardent. You're muted.
My bad. I have a horrible habit for that.
I do that too. Don't worry.
And I had just chilled Spoon out in the chat, and I guess I was channeling him. But as a Newfoundlander, one of the phrases that we are raised with, one of the mottos that is almost central to our culture, is that God helps those who help themselves. So that gentleman's question was immediately disingenuous.
So, I'm just willing to continue. If y'all don't have any other questions, let's go.
Its wealth on the backs of taxpayers in Canada and around the world.
There's a lot of questions about whether the church has engaged in wide-scale tax avoidance.
I need to break in again right away here.
Go on.
The bit about on the backs of taxpayers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does the Mormon Church not collect tithes from its members, not from the general citizenry of the country?
Right.
Correct.
It's their maybe their argument is because it's a religious organization, they don't pay taxes, so therefore
Yeah,
it's
I
all
still
on the
think
backs of the taxpayers.
Yeah, I still think it's a little bit iffy.
That's disingenuous. If that is
Yeah.
if that is their argument that they don't pay taxes and therefore they exist at the taxpayer's expense, look, that's not a very good argument. If that is what they were saying,
It gets scummier, but let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Wide-scale tax evasion.
We have been mischaracterized since 1830. That's always been the case. I don't think it will ever go away.
Can confirm.
This is a case of fraud.
Of course I do. Absolutely, it's fraud.
They actually answered that at the end of the video without answering it, and it's hilarious. Like watching them have to eat their words at the end without admitting it. But let's go on.
I'm Mark Kelly in Salt Lake City, Utah, home of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a church shrouded in secrecy. And
I will say, I think Utah looks like beautiful country.
Hey, okay. This is what makes me mad. A church shrouded in secrecy. We're the a-holes sending missionaries to your door.
Good point.
Come on.
Complaints about homophobia and how the church is managing its vast fortune with connections to Canada. This is a story about whistleblowers from Alberta to Australia and stunning financial revelations as we investigate the Mormons' books. This is the Fifth Estate.
These are members of the Mormon Church lining up in Salt Lake City, not to worship, but to quit. An angry illustration of a church in crisis, a crisis that reaches into Canada and into the pockets of Canadian taxpayers. Southwest Alberta, marked by rolling ranches and fertile farmland. And towering over it all, this temple in the town of Cardston. Settled in 1887, Cardston was the first outpost in Canada of what was then a new religion, the Mormon Church.
What is the significance of this temple?
Well, this was the first temple that was built and dedicated outside of the States.
So it's the big part of certainly the church's Canadian history then.
Absolutely, yeah. Like this goes back more than 100 years.
As a child, Nigel Kennett visited this temple every year with his family, devout Mormons. He was married here 14 years ago. His faith is solid as these granite walls.
So this is the closest thing we have to Salt Lake City North.
Yeah, exactly.
But then Nigel learned something about the finances of the church he felt he had to share.
That had been weighing on my mind for years. And I was like, one of these days, I'm just going to write a letter. I'm going to send it to a news outlet just to clear my own conscience so that I can say I did everything that I could.
Nigel cleared his conscience with an email to the Fifth Estate.
My desire to present this story is not driven by malice, but by the belief that by making the issue known, we drive some change.
So we met with Nigel, speaking out for the first time. Little did we know where this story would take us.
Do you feel that the church is being honest with you?
I don't. But I've heard it said that lying isn't necessarily the words that you're saying, but it's the intent to deceive people.
Okay, I have to stop there because throughout this entire video, and I'll let you all be the judge, I'm a lifelong member. I have never seen any intent from the church, nor do they build the case that the church has ever made any intention of deceiving people. That's first and foremost. Like, whatever the church may or may not do with its funds, I've never had any inclination that the church was ever deceitful or left out information. That to me is an important thing to point out. So here we go again.
The church has built an empire by deceiving people.
How many times do I have to tell you not to slam the door?
I've done this.
Remember these TV ads? They help build the Mormon brand, faith, family, and honesty.
When you ignore accomplishments, you rob your children and yourself of some very satisfying moments.
Hey! I got you! Great! Come on up, let's take a look at it.
Today, the church is a huge international operation with almost 17 million members and some 300 temples in 74 countries.
As we strive to follow Jesus Christ, we reach out to those in need.
This recent video highlights the church's branding now, alleviating global suffering.
Actually, I do have to comment on this. It's not a... Okay, let me try to phrase this properly. This is not new branding. This is something that the church has always done, but very recently has started taking more credit for it, more of a public thing for it. Before, our charity boxes, our donations were unmarked. Now they are. Now, whenever Latter-day Saints volunteer, we have shirts for hurricane relief. And every year, whenever we respond, we take first and second place. It's always the Latter-day Saints and the Mormons. So it's weird that they're saying that we're changing our brand when the behavior stayed exactly the same. Just something I have to throw in there.
Because that's probably a little bit of a deceptive practice on their part, because they're not saying, giving the background that you just gave, what they're doing is saying, oh, they've rebranded, which is, to be fair, a bit of a journalistic inaccuracy.
Yeah, this is full of that, and we'll get to more later.
The relationships we develop, so we can actually make life better for the people that are suffering.
Since 1985, the church says it's given away a total of $3.5 billion in humanitarian aid. That money originates from tithing, donations from church members. Unlike most churches, tithing is not optional. It's a commandment for the Mormon faithful.
One of the first things a bishop must do to help the needy is ask them to pay their tithing. Like the widow, if a destitute family is faced with the decision of paying their tithing or eating, they should pay their tithing. The bishop can help them with their food.
Okay. I'm just going to step right into it. Can confirm. That is not inaccurate. What I'm going to add to that, however, is that up until the year of, and this is something most people don't know, and it's important context going forward. To pay your tithing as a member of the church up until the year of 2014, you had to get an envelope from the church building, fill out that envelope, and then put your money or check in the envelope, and then go find the bishop or ward clerk and put it in their hands. There was no auto pay system. There was no, hey, we'll accept your direct deposit. None of that. You had to this idea that it was a physical coercion is not true. And besides, the church never went and shook down people for their money. In fact, when it comes to tithing settlement, where you declare your tithing status, you sat across a bishop and you could straight up lie. Like, you could say, yeah, I've paid a full honest tithe the whole year and paid not an honest tithe. In fact, Mitt Romney got in trouble with his tax returns because I know. And he got in trouble because it is common practice in his, shall we say, fluctuating job market, where he doesn't know how much he's going to earn in a year. So he has to guess. And in guessing, he guessed incorrectly and ended up earning more than he thought he would. So his tithing was, of course, off kilter. The bishop and him have to decide whether or not he's a faithful tithe payer. So you can, and this happens all the time. Let's say, for example, you change jobs, but you don't change how much you pay per month. The bishop will not call you on it, ever. So just a few interesting tidbits when people say, "Oh, I was coerced. It was mandatory." It's far from it. Yes, you do need to pay tithing to be to get a temple recommend. However, often when it comes to paying tithing, the bishop will say, "Okay, pay me an honest tithe next paycheck or this paycheck, and I will renew your temple recommend." It's always turning a new leaf going forward. It's never retroactive from any time that I've ever heard. So just going forward, please keep this in mind.
Yeah. Before we start the video again, I just point out that I'm a bit of an information junkie, and when a question occurs to me, I absolutely love the gift that is the internet. The first thing I thought of when tithing came up and the issue of mandatoriness came up, I thought, they're making it seem almost as if the Mormon Church is unusual.
No, that's not unusual at all.
That they ask.
Exactly.
And I am aware. No, and I am aware.
In Islam, it is
my
one
own
of the
history that
pillars.
the Pentecostal Church and the Catholic Church.
In Islam, if you don't pay tithes, it's a fundamental pillar of Islam.
Okay, and let me
and I did a quick check,
also,
and the Pentecostal and Catholic churches both require it as well.
Okay, so let me also put this in perspective. Everyone has gone to the mega church. Everyone has gone to the Baptist church, the little Mon and Pa thing, and everyone has experienced, who is not Latter-day Saints, the plate going around.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
As a Mormon, as a Latter-day Saint, I experienced culture shock watching people in mega churches pass this plate around, plates of money on it. That is not how it's done. They do not ask for your money. You will never go to a Latter-day Saint congregation and have them talk about the fundraising they need. Ever. We don't talk money in our services. So when people say, "Oh, it's mandatory," "Oh, there's so much pressure," unironically, I have never been to a church where tithing was not that talked about, except as a commandment you fulfill for your own personal benefit. Hand of God. So,
and
just
I think Aydin will probably back me up on this psychologically. If that plate is going in front of you, you feel bad if you don't put in at least as much as the
for
person
sure.
ahead of you. Yeah.
There's a behavioral consistency thing, and also, a cultural expectation of that. But I don't know if it's so much as, yes, are you maybe going to have some negative psychological reflection on the self that, oh, I didn't do as much as other people in my social group. Yeah, but I think in most churches, there's unspoken, just as giving the tithe in general is an unspoken, we're going to pass around the bowl now, and they're not telling you, not demanding that you give. There's also unspoken rules that if you can't, you can't. But again, other people will take note and will notice that how much you give. You're not supposed to, which actually is something that, again, so should I call you Stormin'Mormon now?
Going forward on the new channel, yeah, sure.
Sure. So I'll call you Stormin. So if you're not familiar with this, one thing that people will do in a lot of congregations is that there are envelopes, and you can put a check in it, but some of them will have envelopes. You could put the cash in an envelope or a check in an envelope so other people can't see. And I actually like that, because then it reduces that psychological expectation, and that you're either giving to other people or that you could receive from others. Now, of course, you're in God's house. You shouldn't be judging each other for how much you can or are giving to the church. And really, I would hope as Christians of any denomination, you would not be doing that. But as human beings, we are looking at the behaviors of others constantly, either for affirmation of what we have done, or how to determine our own behavior, essentially.
Well, and that's what's so different for me, is because that aspect that you're talking about with the envelope, that is my norm. And not only is that my norm, it is expected that when you fill out that form, when you fill out that slip and you put your envelope in, you don't broadcast it. You run straight to the man in charge, the bishop or the ward clerk, and you put it in their hand, and they slide it in their coat like nothing ever happened, or you slide it under the bishop's door. The idea that there is any public performance for your tithing, or that there's some immense social pressure, I'm sorry, compared to everyone else, that is BS. That is absolute crap. And most fellow Latter-day Saints don't know that compared to other religions or other practices, that they have a very low pressure environment. So, you mind if we continue? Anything else?
By all means.
All right, here we go.
Since he was baptized at the age of 8, Nigel has been faithfully giving tithing money to his church.
I was broke. I took out student loans. I was working a couple jobs. I was working a night job and then another retail job. And then for me to be considered worthy to go to the temple, I had to be contributing 10% of my income.
Okay. Little tidbit for those of you who are not in the know. This man went to the temple. He took out covenants. He made promises. One of those promises in the temple is not a tithing covenant. It's called a covenant to the law of consecration, which is not 10%. It's everything. If you are called to give everything at a moment's notice, you covenant to do so. Well, I don't. And so he's sitting here. Obviously, he's been blessed. Obviously, he's been put in a good position despite his hardship, like everyone else is supposed to. Everyone else is supposed to work their way up from turmoil, from the bottom, to make something of themselves, and he's made it. He's obviously made it. In fact, from what I understand, I think he is a a financial advisor of some like an accountant for the church. So obviously this man is not wanting for anything, and yet he covenanted to give all should he be required to. And here he is, in my mind, hypocritically complaining about the 10% he felt cajoled into giving. I'm sorry, I'm pressing X for doubt here. That something is not right with this picture.
Mm.
So just added context for those who don't know.
Yeah, I know next to nothing about
Yeah.
Latter-day Saints, so you'll have to excuse my ignorance on that one. I do know a little bit about the oh god, now my brain's not working. I'm not even jet lagged anymore. I just have no excuse. The other people who go door to door who are not
Jehovah's
Mormons.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
J-Dubs, because Hard
J-Dubs.
Bastard was a J, and they're some of the stuff with the Watchtower organization is so fucked up.
Okay, let me tell you a true fact. Watchtower, the people who run the Watchtower and the J-Dub leadership watch the Latter-day Saint General Conference for their content.
Mm-hmm.
I kid you not. As a missionary, because I was actually laughing internally when you said J-Dubs, because that's what the missionaries call them. That's what the elders call them on their bikes. We call them J-Dubs. So just a little inside baseball there, but let's continue on with this gentleman's story.
God, how did I pick up that term then? It must have been from Hard Bastard. I'm calling him J-Dubs. It must, because he doesn't like him. He left the church and could have lost his whole family over it. By the way, that's how they work.
I think it's actually a relatively common term, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah. Been hearing it my whole life.
All right, well, here we go, because we got a long ways to go with this.
Yeah.
I was taught that there was a strong emphasis on humanitarian aid with tithing, is that like you pay tithing and then it furthers the Lord's work, but that it's also to go towards people who need help.
Nigel's an accountant. He was working on the books of a church of a different faith when he saw how much their members gave to charity. So he looked into the Mormons' books and was stunned by where their donations were going.
As you identified, I'm an accountant. And so in Canada, there's a charities director, and then was able to see the full financial information. And I was floored. I was like, holy cow, why don't I see qualified donees for like the Red Cross or the food bank? I was like, what the heck? $100 million to BYU?
Yeah, because BYU is whoa. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why are you confused by this?
Oh, no. Continue your thought. I have so much more to say on that topic. Go on, Aydin.
Okay, well, first of all, you got to be skeptical of a lot of giant charities, like the Red Cross, for example.
That was my that was my first thought. But go on.
Where does their money actually end up going to? Is a good question about when you see these places that just give money to certain charities. Then you have to look into that charity further. Secondly, no shit. The Mormon Church gives money to BYU. It's their university. I'd be
yes,
like, but the Catholic Church gives money to Catholic universities. Oh, what? What? Are you retarded? No shit. I mean, goddamn, like
the Vatican sent how much to Notre Dame? How dare they?
What?
Okay. let me make it even more sinister for you. Let me explain to you how incredibly disingenuous this is. Years ago, I think it was in the early 1990s, no, the late 1990s, the church started a project called the Perpetual Education Fund, where it was an extra thing you could put on that tithing slip to donate to in addition to your tithing, as well as fast offerings and the missionary fund and all these other things. The Perpetual Education Fund was through BYU, was donated to BYU to provide education to third world nations that the church had influence in, so that these people could become educated, become pillars of the community, and then give back to the church. And this education fund snowballed so largely and so successfully that it became a program called Pathways. And Pathways is a program through which online schooling, which I'm using the Pathways program now, and I pay a heavily reduced tuition rate to go to school, which is specifically engineered so that if you qualify for government assistance, you don't pay for your schooling. You pay nothing. That's how the system is run. So for him to say that giving so much money to BYU is not charity, it doesn't count because it's education, you have no idea how much of the church's resources is spent literally promoting and providing subsidized education, essentially free education to its membership so that they can give back to the church and the world. That money is not going to waste in any way, shape, or form. The fact that he's propping this as a slush fund is he should know better. If he knew what the church's programs were engineered to do, he would know better. And he's an accountant. I'm going to guess he knows better. So, let us continue.
I would hope so, right? But
Mhm.
Is Brigham Young University. Opened in 1875, it's a private university in Provo, Utah, owned and operated by the Mormon Church.
Dun, dun, dun.
98% of the students enrolled here are Mormons. So how much Canadian money has been flowing to BYU? We obtained Canadian charity records and found something unusual. Starting in 2007, the Mormon Church in Canada began moving mass amounts of money to BYU. The biggest year on record was 2016, when almost $110 million was gifted to the university. That was nearly 70% of all the tithing money collected that year by the Canadian Church.
Okay.
Okay, so wait, just to reiterate then, 70% of the tithing is going to their university to educate people, to make the university, presumably, a better institution, to provide better services to the students. I thought that we were supposed to value higher education.
Well, okay, not just to BYU students on campus who are LDS, anyone who is enrolled in the BYU system online through BYU Idaho, BYU Hawaii, internationally.
That's actually a thing too to bring up about BYU is that they do have a bunch of online programs, and they're not the only university like that. But the things that I've noticed when I was looking at going back and finishing my PhD is that it's a lot of universities like BYU, like Liberty, that have international PhD programs taught online that other programs do not have.
Correct.
It's difficult to get a PhD online, just saying. There's no PhD programs in Guernsey, so I'm a little bit limited on my choices. And I don't think BYU had it in my field. They might have actually, but I did look at them because it's one of very few institutions that even offers online PhDs.
I have a theory, and I'm pretty certain that you remember when Jordan Peterson said he wanted to make university affordable, and he's sort of trying to get accredited still with that program, but I think what set him back was realizing that the Latter-day Saints had already done it, and they'd done it to the point where it was so damn affordable. Like, when I say affordable, I'm currently paying like $77 per credit, which is
That's nothing. What
it's
the
nothing.
fuck?
Yeah. I'm literally paying in the ballpark of that range per credit, and I'm getting and I'm working my way towards a bachelor's through this Pathways program, and it is phenomenal. And that's what these billions of dollars are paying for internationally across the world for as a service that this church does for its membership and for its poor, because that's what it's for. It's for those who couldn't otherwise afford it.
Yes, and so as a member of the LDS, you get a major break on it, right? I would
Absolutely.
assume. Right. Okay.
Oh, and
Now,
then they had another recent fund where it said, "Oh, if you take this little mini course, we'll reduce your tuition even further."
so right. Okay. So let me ask you a couple questions about that, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about their narrative, because I've been skeptical of the Mormon Church in the past. I don't know much about it, but besides
Go
the
ahead.
memes, largely. So let's
Well, but
find out
before you start, let me just
yeah,
confirm.
I'm not gonna meme. I'm not gonna ask you meme questions. I'm gonna ask you serious ones.
Let me just confirm something
Uh-huh.
before you start. The Mormon industrial complex is real, and I'm
Mhm.
proud of it.
So, if let's say I wanted to attend this university and get that discount,
Mhm.
what would I have to do to be considered a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints?
Oh, you would have to take missionary lessons,
Okay.
attend service at least for 3 weeks, get baptized, uh, be part of the covenant, um, and then you would have to go through the Pathways program where you spend a year taking basic math, reading, and I believe it's a r- basic life course.
Mhm.
So it's 3 different classes for
Mhm.
an entire semester, along with a seminary class or a religious course that's worth 1 credit that is completely free.
So, that was gonna be my next part of the question. How much people have to pay to become members, full members of the church?
Oh,
Because that
nothing.
seems to be their contention, right? Is that you have to pay to get in.
Oh, becoming a member of the church costs you literally nothing. I
Okay.
mean, um, yeah, I they would encourage you to pay tithing before baptism, I'm sure, but you wouldn't have to until you
Let's
actually
say
got in the water.
let's
And
say you're impoverished and you're interested in this and you truly believe in it. You're not trying to scam, which there might be somebody who's trying to scam, but you don't have a lot of money. Uh,
Mhm.
would they're encouraging from what you're saying, and social proof and social encouragement, if you want to call it that. With
Mhm.
social proof, it can be very, very persuasive, and people can feel as though they don't have a choice, even though they're not being told what to do. Social coercion is a thing. But from what you're saying, someone could go through all of these prerequisites, join the church, not have to pay anything, and then get a massive discount. I'm saying it's a lot to go through. It's not just like, hey, I say I'm Mormon now, and
Oh,
you know.
okay. Let me also add something that is incredibly real about the Latter-day Saint Church.
Mhm.
Um, we know when you're an outsider.
Mhm. Okay, this is social identity stuff. Yeah, all right.
And
What do
and
you mean,
it's
though?
what I mean is it it is a culture. It's not just something you learn in the books. It is something that you are immersed in. That there is, and it's very very easy. And my my dear wife, who's a convert, um,
Mhm.
felt this,
Did she
and
feel ostracized, do you think?
oh yeah. And it comes from subtle things.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Normally,
that
social ostracization is it's rarely the way that, like, the left portrays it, of it like, "You N-word," kind of stuff,
Oh
it's
yeah,
usually
no.
very subtle.
It is very subtle, and it was little things like your Sunday dress being a little too tight.
Oh.
Do not wear club attire to the Sunday service. Latter-day Saints will
To
frown
be
upon
fair
this.
to be fair, any social group has things like that where there is unspoken rules where
Absolutely.
you know?
And the thing is, are you going to be ashamed of your culture, or are you going to embrace it? And I'm not saying that people should feel out of place. And in fact, one of the greatest things about going to temple is it is one of the few places in the world ever where I feel at home.
Mhm. And that's
Ever.
wonderful.
Um, different chapels are different chapels, different wards are different wards. But when I go to the temple, I am always home.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to little social norms, like we are a people who know our own, and so it's not like you can just convert and say, "Oh, I'm one of you now." You're going to have to walk the walk eventually.
It's that way for, it is that way for anything in life, right? If you're doing so, like, if I want to, I've lived in Guernsey for 3 years, being back here in the U.S., but I lived there for 3 years. I'm going back. But for me to become a Guernsey, I can never become a citizen. I can become a permanent resident, and I kind of more or less am. The law stuff is weird on it, but I'm fine. I can live there however long, as long as I live with Bill. But to become a permanent, again, I can never become a citizen. I can become a permanent resident. But they also, like, I'm supposed to take like classes and stuff like that to become to live in Guernsey. But it's that way for all, and I would vehemently defend that kind of stuff in Guernsey. And this is a very different thing, but I'm taking it out of the theological for a reason, because theology can get sticky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
well, no, I'm gonna tell
fighting
you
my
point
urge to
blank.
make a dirty joke about Catholic priests.
Theology getting sticky.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's this way. If you want to become a citizen of a country,
yes,
a lot of times, many places will make you take a test, and I agree, by the way, with that. Now, is that fair, quote unquote? Because if you're born there, you don't have to take a test. And I'm guessing if you're born into, well, this is another question because I don't know. If you're born into Mormonism, do you have to? You probably don't have to do anything to. Do you have to do anything to prove? You have to do.
Yeah, you have to
missionary
make your own
work.
covenants. You have
Yeah.
to
Okay.
get baptized. You have to receive the Holy Ghost. You have to be confirmed. And
Right.
and you are expected as a young man to serve for 2 years on
Okay,
your
yeah.
own dime.
Right.
So it's not like we don't have our own rites of passage. We
Mhm.
certainly do. And it's but as you say, all I'm trying to convey is that while there are no monetary costs, there is a social a social wavelength that we're on, that if you were to just kind of walk in and say, "Oh, I'm one of you, let me take these benefits," you're going to get a lot of side eye.
Right, which was not what I was. I'm sure that is the case, because that's the case with any group. You can't just be like, "Hey, fellow kids," with anything, or it's
And
like
and it should be that way.
it should. There's some gatekeeping is not a bad thing. And it would be like, again, I'm using other examples that are the people who would understand from other things. So, like, for example, like comic books or nerd stuff, nerdy hobbies of, I'm just gonna walk in and, oh, I'm just one of you nerds, with like it happened a lot in, not so much D&D, although it's getting there, but with like cosplay stuff. I'm a cosplayer, so that could be, I'm dressed up. I bought this costume, and then I want attention, but I'm not. I don't want to really like get into having to read this stuff or invest any time in this stuff. I just want the attention and the positive benefits of it, and everybody can tell. Everybody knows that you're just in it for attention or something. So no, it wasn't my question, because again, that can happen, and obviously you can tell those people. You can pick people who are fakers out quickly. But my question ultimately was, theoretically, if you did want to join the Church of Latter-day Saints because you believed in it, because you had read the literature and you believed in it, and you chose to join and you went through all of these processes, you're not required to pay the church. If you're not someone who's wealthy and has you could pay, let's say you give what you can just out of your conviction and desire to help the church, but it's not much. It's like $5 a month or something, right? Would you be able to go get these benefits at BYU if you've gone through all of the prerequisites?
Oh yeah.
So that's
without question.
So that's why, sorry for the long pause. but they're making it out to be like you have to, if you want to get these benefits, you're going to have to like put a huge amount of money in, or
No.
that was so. It seems to me that this is something that is beneficial to people who have put the time and energy in, not necessarily money. This little
Correct.
documentary is acting like money is the be all end all. And
Yeah,
my
no.
clarification I was seeking there is it? Clearly,
No.
you can do it without having to, and I don't know. That's why I'm asking. You don't have to have given them a bunch of money to receive the financial benefit from it, and anyone can go to BYU.
Correct. Anyone can go to BYU. So let's continue on because it gets juicy.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit an aside, but I wanted to
Oh, I
clarify some
know.
things.
Absolutely.
American Lars Nielsen graduated from BYU. It was at Harvard when his Mormon belief bubble would burst.
Color me shocked. But
no, he
anyways,
went to a coastal leftist elitist institution and
got brainwashed. Oh, heaven forbid. That's never happened before.
his opinion changed. Let's put it that way. Yeah, all of a sudden.
I do believe that my experience at Harvard University, I think it liberalized me. It opened
Duh.
me up.
Wow, he uses the exact term. There you go.
My religion wasn't all that it had said that it was, and allowed me to be a more critical thinker.
Oh,
Shouldn't
okay.
you have
Just
been
really,
critical
really
thinking
quick.
before you got
Go
involved
on.
with this?
Yeah, exactly, Ardent. And then on top
Yeah.
of it, you had to have other people tell you to think critically. That inherently is not thinking critically if you have to be told to do it.
As an aside, I know very few stupid Mormons, like those who are deep in the theology, the teachers of our Sunday schools. These are not dumb people. These are not people, and that I'll let this man's words speak for themselves.
Finances.
Mhm.
That's E2 saw the Canadian cash pipeline to BYU. He has a theory about that.
Why is that money going to BYU?
Yeah. Well, the church wants to grow and create Zion and to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth.
Oh no, how terrible. Oh God, oh no. Like again, I'm very different faith and have been of different faiths, but what you just said there kind of sounds like great. Yeah, awesome.
Based.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
why is this
down the side
wrong?
of making people's lives better again.
Oh
Okay.
no, why would you want to do that? And the thing also, sorry, I keep going on little sides. These people are coming from a total outside perspective, don't understand, is that they're atheists, I would assume. So
No. These people in front
the
of
Fifth
you.
Estate?
Yeah,
No,
the
no.
Fifth Estate.
The people
The Fifth
the
Estate
people
are
making the documentary, not
Yes.
him. I think that the people who are asking these kinds of questions and looking at it, they fundamentally can't understand because of their perspective on things, or at least they're so far removed from it that they can't truly understand that what Christian faith, whatever it is, thinks. We believe whatever version of Christianity you ascribe to, that you are helping people for all eternity by bringing them. This is not just like in this life. That stuff's good too.
Mhm.
But the ultimate goal is not about this life good as well. But it's that there's a higher calling here, and that I want to make you safe and saved for forever. And I don't think they quite get that part.
No.
I think that's outside of their kind of atheist mindset. They and let's not play around with that and pretend like it's not that people have abused Christianity to do evil things all throughout history. They absolutely have, and any religion. But
Yeah,
I think
I don't think denying Canada tax dollar money is one of the great evils of Christianity.
Oh no, I actually think that's probably a net positive. What do you think, Ardent?
Anything that keeps money out of the hands of people aligned with the Chinese Communist Party is positive in my eyes. But hey,
Well,
what do I know?
Agreed.
On that note, let us continue.
Where do they want to do it? They want to do it in America, in the Promised Land. Canada is attached to the promised land, but it's not the promised land. But they do
Not
have
until you
significant-
people invade us.
But here's where I'm angry, because again, we are completely ignoring the international efforts that BYU puts forth in pathway programs, in internet
Right.
online programs.
They just said that about the well, no, you said that about the online stuff.
Yeah,
Did they say they said it? I thought earlier too that it's available all over the world.
Yeah. Again, let's just let's give them enough rope. Here we go.
So they would like to get the money out. How do you get the money out of Canada legally?
That's the key word. It's legal.
Yeah. If I, what the fuck kind of question is that? I can give to any thing that I want to give to. I can spend my money on whatever the hell I want to in any country. Well, I mean,
Okay.
within
Well,
reason, right?
Okay. They're going to open up the start of the conspiracy. Let's let them open up the start of the conspiracy. And
Okay.
you
Let me
can
hear
come
the
to your-
start, and then I'm gonna have to grab another drink, and I'll be right back. But yeah.
Excellent.
Legally, the church in Canada can't transfer money to its parent church in the U.S. and retain its charitable status, but it can move as much money as it wants to an American university like BYU. But there is a key condition.
There is in your tax system a loophole that says if it's used for educational purposes that benefit Canadians outside of Canada, then
Yeah.
you can use the money that way.
Okay.
And you can you go to this university and receive benefits to go to the university for, as you said, basically nothing for credit in Canada if you're a member of the LDS? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm failing to see the contradiction here.
I just want to interject here. I tend to pay very close attention to people's body language, and
Oh.
this is a glorious pause because this guy looks like he's getting ready to tell one hell of a lie.
Well, if you want, I also pay attention to body language.
Mm.
The whole time he is very closed. His arms are in, his legs are in.
Yes.
He's is he lying directly? He maybe. To me, though, that can't, and by the way, never take body language analysis at anybody's word, because it is not a science. It's a pseudoscience.
It's more of an intuition art sort of form. Yeah.
No, there is science on it, but it's
Let's put
accuracy.
it this way: whether he's lying or not,
He's
he knows
uncomfortable.
he knows he shouldn't feel safe saying this.
He's uncomfortable. I think that's what I could tell you from my many years of studying body language. He looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And they rationalize, oh, well, maybe 1% of BYU have got Canadians. They say, as long as it's benefiting anyone who is Canadian,
Yeah.
BYU,
Even if it benefits one Canadian student there?
even if it benefits one student.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
More than 85,000
I'm failing to see the
Yeah,
problem.
I don't see the issue myself.
Well, more Canadians could take advantage of it.
They could.
It's not the fault.
Canadians.
Okay, so 1,400
of the student body.
Yeah.
So why don't more Canadians take advantage of it then? That's
Well,
not.
okay.
That's not.
Well,
It's,
hang on.
it's probably something to do with the fact that we're not aware of how bloody cheap it could be.
Look, that's not even the full figure. That's BYU Utah.
Oh, right. So, okay.
BYU Idaho and Pathway program is a completely different section of population.
Wow.
So well, and I don't know how many more it is, but
I don't know either. but it's
1,400
not-
people. It's not one though.
Exactly. So,
And even if it was, so it's not their fault that people aren't taking advantage of this opportunity.
yeah.
I don't. Look, my libertarian brain's freaking out on this guy. It's just like,
Yeah.
like, are you Fetterman? I mean, I'm just like,
but
He
again,
pronounces it Fetterstein.
well, I'm not gonna. You can't say the R word, I think, on YouTube, but I can just say Fetterman.
Fair.
I'm stealing that. I'm so stealing that.
Yeah.
But by the way, he was Fetterman long before the stroke. Just saying.
Oh, I know.
That's
All
clear
right.
from his record.
Indeed. But back to Canadian Fettermans.
Yes.
Money has the Canadian Church given BYU? Well, more than $1 billion.
Okay, this shit pisses me off. I'm sorry.
Over how many years?
Okay, no.
Mhm.
That's not what makes me angry.
Mhm.
Canadian Church. Let me explain something to you. There is no difference between the Latter-day Saint Church in the United States and the Latter-day Saint Church in Canada. There's no difference. We're all in the. We are so incredibly unified in terms of gospel lessons, uh, the agenda in terms of what is taught each week is in sync throughout the entire globe.
Mhm.
You can go literally across the world and have your lesson plan pretty much figured out, except for a few minor days of the year where it's a local conference or a ward conference. There is, when they say the Canadian Church, that does not exist.
So there's no delineation. It's not the Church of Latter-day Saints of Canada?
Nope.
Or is that a thing? Okay.
There might be a slight legal
There probably is a legal
or
thing for tax reasons.
or organization in the nation of Canada, but all of the holdings, all of the corporate authority belongs to one organization called the Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mhm.
So let me break this down for you. It is a religion who is following the same ethos of a corporation that follows the same kind of power structure as an Abrahamic patriarchy.
Okay.
One man holds all the power at one time.
Mhm.
And the eldest, and when he dies, the senior apostle inherits and becomes the next in line. It's been that way for 200 years.
Mhm.
And it is an international corporation, the Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This quote-unquote Canadian church does not exist.
Right.
So, F that noise. Here we go.
Donated by Mormons, all eligible for tax deductions for those donations. When you add it all up, those deductions cost the Canadian Treasury.
No, no, fuck you,
Oh, I
fuck you,
love
dude,
that,
fuck
yeah.
you. No, now you pissed me off. Like,
Get 'em.
no, that's not 280,000 tax breaks. That's charitable donations.
From money that they've already paid taxes on and
Right.
gave to the church as
By their
charity.
own volition.
Yes.
They
It was
what? Oh, this is just like, I need more money for my social programs in
as
Canada.
if
Sorry,
Canada,
Ardent, but
Oh,
as
I
if
don't
Canada
at all.
as
need
if
it.
Canada is being robbed because
Yeah, that's how they're framing
members
it, right?
of the church in Canada are supporting the church in the United States and
Worldwide.
internationally through BYU.
This is some greedy Canuck shit, man.
Oh,
Like,
you have no idea. Like currently, we're being sometime this month we're supposed to be getting cost of living checks because
great.
the government of Newfoundland and Labrador had an unexpected revenue surplus. Oh yeah, you should go check out my video about that. I got real good and loud.
Yeah, when I first saw this, Aydin, I said, "Holy crap! This is propaganda dialed to 11. I have to make this video. I have to."
Fuck, by the way, like, this is them trying to squeeze every last ounce of money out of people for the Canadian government. Is what this clearly. What is the Fifth Estate, by the way? You said it's like a journalism outlet,
Yeah,
ostensibly.
it's a
Is it owned by the Canadian government, like the
Yes.
BBC? Oh, it is.
Not
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So the Fifth Estate is a show on the CBC. The CBC is a crown corporation, which is a
Okay.
slightly easier way of saying state propaganda outlet. However,
Yeah. Okay.
it's not technically owned by the Canadian government. It is supported by the Canadian government, and
Yeah.
when Trudeau was running, his opponent had pointed out that he believed that Canadian culture was in jeopardy and that one of our cultural institutions, the CBC, needed to be supported. And he had suggested that he would give the CBC, I think, $100 million more a year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the bidding war began, and Trudeau won
Oh.
it because he said, "Oh, well, no, I'll give you $100 million a year,"
Mm-hmm.
and he did. And now all of a sudden, nobody else in Canada gets any sort of media access except the people who Trudeau is paying. That's why Rebel News can't get near a politician. It's why True North is struggling so much. Yeah.
Well, this is a problem with state-owned media, but not that the
very
U.S.
much.
is like really any
And-
better. I mean, CNN is state-owned media in all but name.
And the very capper on it is Trudeau is the guy who said Canadians don't have a culture and then wrote Bill C-11
right.
so he could control the internet in order to protect Canadian culture. Pick one, dude.
Well, I can't. I was I just again, I'm here with my dad just a couple hours ago. He's not seen any of my, well, my stepmom has never seen like any of my videos, and was like, "Oh, we're gonna watch one." So we watched the last one I did on the Queen, and they did not know that Justin Trudeau serves at Her Majesty's pleasure.
Yes.
And His Majesty's now, excuse me.
That's probably
I
more comfortable for him anyway.
He loves pleasuring men, I'm sure. But wait, that's not what I meant. But anyway, no, that's what I meant.
Oh, that's where I was going. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I know
moving
exactly.
on.
Yes, exactly. But no, I'd be real great if Charlie could just kick him the fuck out, because he's such a slimy scumbag. And I was talking about him in the video, but of course about how he was singing Bohemian Rhapsody the day she died.
Oh gods, yeah. The thing is, I don't think Charles and Justin really disagree on too much. So I think
Probably not.
That's kind
No.
of a bit of
That's why I said it was a wish, not a reality.
So,
but I do believe he does have the power to do that.
Yes.
But yes, and the Fifth Estate, from what I understood from what Ardent was saying, was supposed to be like the free thinking arm of the CBC.
Very free thinking. Give Canada's government more money.
Yeah.
And therefore give us more money. Huh.
Yeah, as I said, they're a decades-old program, and they were very, very well respected. Any time that there was a topic that I was interested in and that they were covering, I was always going to go to them first and trust them as an authoritative source. Clearly, that no longer happens.
Yeah. I'll be right back, though. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for explaining that, though. I'll be right back.
Oh,
go ahead. Continue without me, please.
All right.
$80 million. In an emailed statement to the Fifth Estate, the church said it is using a legitimate and well-known tax provision to
Facts.
transfer money to BYU. And points out more donations were retained and used in Canada.
Also true.
US. We crunched the numbers. Since 2007, 46% of Canadian tithing money left the country.
Which means 54% stayed in Canada.
Right?
Basic math. Basic math.
So
they didn't lie.
Complaining? Yeah. Like, why are they complaining when more than half of the money that the Canadian members of the church donate stays in Canada?
Because they have, because
well,
they
want
just
100% of it. Clearly,
yeah, exactly. They if it's less than the full 100%, this is the glorious part where they get into like, what are Canadians supporting? Let's get into that.
What exactly are Canadian taxpayers supporting? When we come back, we go to BYU.
Please do.
To be bisexual.
Oh, she looks like such a pleasant person to be around.
Yeah. Just a spoiler alert, guys. We're mean to the gays.
Well,
as
if, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh gosh, it's absolutely awful.
Shocking.
The thing is, that's reality.
Then why are you at the university?
Good question.
And why did you tell anyone if you were concerned?
Yeah.
University represents everything the Mormon Church stands for,
Including family. Okay, go look it up. The proclamation to the world, the family. Google it. That's what we stand for. That's who we are. This is our university. those are our standards. It should. Enough said.
Moral, pure, and squeaky clean.
There's an honor code. I too.
believe you to be the very best, and I'm counting on you to be consumed with conviction.
The staples of typical college life are forbidden here. No booze, no drugs, no smoking. Even coffee is a no-go.
Cherish the gospel of
I
Jesus Christ.
got to get you to stop for a second here. He's talking about the staples of college life as if smoking and drinking and doing drugs are things that people should do. These are vices you should avoid or control.
How dare Christianity be enforced?
Not
How
even
dare you?
Christianity, just simple moral decency.
Indeed.
Come on.
But don't you know you should send your child to college so they can be a degenerate? I mean that's
Apparently,
what you
yes, we're not
expect,
training
right?
them to be sinners.
I mean that's the par that is the American European tradition. Just send your child off to engage in all forms of immorality. That's what you should do, right? It's a staple of college life. What does that say about college?
Not good things.
Indeed. Continuing.
The world needs you.
Dubbed the Lord's University, our investigation has revealed that since 2007, the Mormon Church in Canada has donated more than $1 billion to BYU.
Good.
Tax-deductible charitable donations underwritten by Canadian taxpayers.
No. Underwritten by members of the faith who knew what they were donating to and expected it to go where the church wanted it to go.
Not only that, but this idea that it's underwritten by Canadian taxpayers, they're still trying to make it seem as if this is some kind of scam or something, and it's not.
No.
Nobody is saying that the money that the Catholic Church collects and removes from Canada is a bad thing.
No.
This strikes me as specifically targeted at your religion, and it's absolutely wrong.
They're pissed off at the amount. That's what
You're
this is
doing a
about.
better job than everybody else. Are you winning, son?
I apologize for nothing. Nothing.
Absolutely not. No.
All right, continuing.
We follow the Canadian money to the campus of Brigham Young University, just south of Salt Lake City. Here we're told students can get a world-class educational experience, unless they happen to be gay.
That's actually not true, because the two people you just had interviewed are students there and are openly, one is openly bisexual, and I believe the other one admits to being openly gay. Clearly, this is not true. Yeah, kind of took the wind out of your sail on that one, didn't I?
I'm glad when I have decent co-hosts who...
Oh, brother, I can't stand this kind of crap. It makes me insane.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy always drives me insane.
So this is the spot.
Yeah.
After everything you've been through, what does it mean here in front of Brigham Young?
I mean, it's difficult because I really wanted BYU to be the place, and then to come somewhere so central to your religion and be told this is the place, but not for you.
You're still there.
And also, if you have a moral issue with this based on the tenets of the religion, why are you still part of the religion? I left my original religion because I had moral issues, personal ethical concerns that made it very difficult for me to reconcile my conscience with my religion. So I left the religion. Like, this is not...
Yeah.
Exactly, Aydin. Go somewhere else then.
Exactly. So, as we are...
Their Mormon faith led Jeannie Williams and Canadian Jacqueline Foster to BYU. Once they got
Hey, we found a Canadian. We found one.
She's the one. She's the only one.
We found the 1%, the 1.4%. We found her. They found the Canadian, and she's gay.
Well, sorry. We
You
just
should
keep giving you
apologize.
guys the worst kind of Canadians. We gave you Justin Bieber, Celine Dion. Well, okay, sorry, I'll take that back. You guys got William Shatner.
You know what? I will accept your reparations. Oh wait, I already got $1 billion. As
And
we
you didn't
were,
even
as
have
we
to
were.
invade us for oil for it.
Exactly.
I'm
Because
not
well,
saying
we
you
already.
shouldn't.
Well, to be fair, Alaska was from the Ruskies. Just
Yes,
saying.
true. The
So
Panhandle still belongs to BC. I don't care.
whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
but back to someone's faith being tested.
Severely tested after they both came out on campus.
I'm bisexual. Okay, I'm not straight. I don't struggle with same-sex attraction. I struggle with people who struggle with my same-sex attraction.
Okay, hello, I'm back. I have a question. I was
welcome
listening. What do they mean by being openly gay is not allowed?
They will go into that in the future.
Okay, because that was
that will be covered
openly gay.
because
Okay.
it has a happy ending.
Oh, okay.
In 2020, protests erupted over BYU's honor code, which forbids homosexual behavior. Homosexual behavior includes not only sexual relations between members of the same sex, but all forms of physical intimacy and expression to homosexual feelings. That includes hugging, dating, even holding hands on campus.
Okay. There are a lot of not just Mormon universities. There's Christian universities all over the U.S. There is who that still to this day have rules against same-sex hugging, kissing on campus. There's not many of them left, but there's I was reading a story. It's probably 15 years ago, maybe now, but 10, at least 10, where there was some university, and it was the same thing where the students were like, I want to be able to make out with my boyfriend on campus. It's like, it's part of you. Then go to any other school. Go to, if that's what matters to you about going to school, then go to any, or do it, I guess, in your dorm or do it in private. It sounds to me from the code of conduct, they don't want you to do it in public.
Yeah, and it's also, you have to understand, open fornication in public, whether straight or gay, is also still prohibited.
Mm-hmm.
This is
so it's also it's not okay for the straights either then to be doing
well, no, the straights can have heterosexual dating and PDAs, but taking there are campuses where as a form of art exhibits where there's nudity and whatnot, or some sexual act, it would be permitted under the guise of art. That's not permitted at BYU, whether it's straight or gay.
Right.
This is Ardent has posted it. The family of proclamation to the world. Those are our standards. That's what we believe. That is who we are. And if you would like to read that at your leisure, understand that that is the culture you signed up for. That is what you went into. So
I will find I know for sure that there is at least a couple. Now the problem is that I'm finding all LGBTQ stuff. I'm gonna look this up. But I know for a fact, because when I was at Xavier, a Catholic institution where I got my undergraduate degrees, that I remember while I was there, there was in the news about some other, I don't think it was Catholic, I think it was Baptist or something, some small school in Georgia or something, and it was no any relationships on campus. Really small school, 1,000 students at most, and that was the rule. And people were all up in arms about it. Oh, I can't believe the school. Then go somewhere else. That's their rule. Then go literally anywhere else. I don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, oh, you don't like it? Go literally anywhere else.
There's a happy ending to the story.
Yes, I'm anticipating the good ending.
So you defiled private property.
Mm-hmm.
BYU campus was lit up with rainbow colors. Faced with mounting pressure, the school lifted.
And everyone starts taking these pictures of themselves kissing their same-sex partners out right in front of the statue of Brigham Young, right in front of the administration building. And I started crying because it was so, what we've been hoping for this whole time.
But the victory lasted only weeks. The church intervened, saying same-sex relationships are not compatible with their faith.
One of the
They're a private religious institution. They're allowed to. This is not
Yeah.
this is not government. This is not a U.S. government funded. I mean, does BYU get U.S. government funding? I guess that would be the question.
No.
No, it's
Okay,
private.
then they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yep. Yeah, we get no. Yeah, nothing.
Then they can
No.
do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. Pretty much. As I said, there was a happy ending.
Well, I mean, they
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, it's ridiculous. Again, you are going to a religious institution. You knew this when nobody in America or probably anywhere on earth thinks that BYU is something other than a religious institution. So you know what you're getting into, right?
Yeah.
You know you're going to a religious institution. You know that BYU and that really any religious institution probably is going to have some issues with this. It's in their bylaws. It's right where it was, right there. So why not go again anywhere else? This was not something that happened on accident. They knew what they were getting into.
And the reason I know for you this seems obvious. The reason I like having people like you and Ardent on with me is because they're members of the church who are actually wondering if their culture is oppressive or wrong or not inclusive enough. And the answer is you're just fine. The problem isn't you.
These people are activists, right?
Yes.
Oh, thank
They
you.
went to
I was going to point
Yeah.
out I have a very
Thank
less
you.
than charitable take on this. This was done for attention.
I
will let
yes.
Aydin have her go. I'm actually going to step out for a bathroom break. I will
Oh,
be
okay.
back shortly.
All
Oh,
right.
would take turns in Arden.
Oh, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to do this, but
Yeah.
Aydin, you're not
Yeah.
straight.
No, I'm bisexual.
Okay, so
I mean, I'm married to a guy. I've mostly been with men in my life, but I've also dated ladies.
Mhm.
And so it's not. Oh yeah, that's always the critique. Oh, it's just because you're a bigot and you hate the gays. Yeah, I really hate the gays.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm a self-hating half gay or something. Look, though. Now I've lost my train of thought on what I was going to say, but it is true. I am half gay. I think these people are activists, though. I
Yes.
think they showed up here knowing what they were going to expect, and they thought we can get into a documentary. We can get attention by intentionally going to some place where we know this is not part of their school culture. It's disallowed specifically just so they can make a stink and get attention over it. And truthfully, I find that pretty repulsive. Again, go anywhere else. I mean,
And
it's
honestly, she's
what do you want?
Canadian.
Yeah, why? So you're
You
Canadian.
had other options.
You had a billion other options. Isn't Canada? They're one of those countries where they heavily subsidize the universities. So how much would she have had to have paid if she'd gone to school in Canada?
And because she's a member of the church, she went to BYU instead. She
Mhm.
made that choice. She traveled. She crossed state lines.
Mm.
She crossed state
Oh
lines.
no!
Went to another culture.
Now, did she have an AR-15? Then that would be unlikely.
And she got oppressed. It just
Yeah.
happened. So
I don't
yes,
think she got oppressed. I think.
I'm being.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
being
I know.
facetious,
You're
but
oppressing
it's
yourself.
exactly.
If you do think it's oppression, then you're oppressing yourself. Again, I went to a Catholic institution. This would be like if I showed up at the Catholic institution and then started complaining about the iconography of Mary because it offends my sensibilities or something. I don't know. Like, then go anywhere else. Don't go to a Christian. I mean, I guess if she went there because her family are why does her family feel about it? I mean, I hope they're accepting, but like you knew this. If your family's LDS, she knew this.
Yeah. So let's let these ladies continue.
Yes.
You may have removed the language, but the church still doesn't support queer people dating or holding hands or kissing.
Yeah, so she got what she wants. She's still mad about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Felt very panicked. Like I just came out as having had a girlfriend for 2
Ugh.
years.
Wow, that's what you call dysgenic.
Around then,
Wolf.
Jeannie got a call from the manager of her student residence.
And he's like, your sexuality is making your roommates uncomfortable. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, they've come in, they don't feel safe around you, that kind of thing. And then before I know it, I have to leave.
Jeannie, Canadian.
I mean, that's kind of like fucked up. I admit it, but but at the same time, you know where you're at. This is how. Let me put it another way. Then, if I went to Japan, right, and I went to a Japanese university, I went to a Japanese exchange program, and I refused to speak Japanese, and I refused to follow the norms of that university. And I don't know, I'm sitting in the middle of the student lounge, like legs spread, eating McDonald's and just like sloppily, and we're
Yeah.
wearing an American flag and blaring "God bless America," and the Japanese people felt uncomfortable by it. I'm like, this is my culture. What are you talking about? I'm just being myself. Yeah, okay. Would would people not think, if it was any other circumstance where you go into a culture at a university and just violated it by intentionally doing stuff that you have to know is going to make the people around you uncomfortable, how can you then get upset by it? I understand that why this looks fucked up from her perspective, but come on.
You got to understand, the Latter-day Saint culture and community is extremely family oriented, and in a sense, it is.
Oh yeah.
It is hypersensitive in the sense of, if anything's not well, if anything's out of kilter, if anything doesn't seem like it's flush, there's going to be that heightened sense of awareness. Also, there's a strong family focus to the culture, meaning this girl came in as a member of the faith, as a member of someone who is pardon the terminology, part of the tribe. She is part of the tribe. For her to have essentially admitted that her behavior was horrific enough that other people who considered
That's what
her,
I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. What was she doing? What would if that provided the story is true, which I don't trust anybody, but provided the story is true, giving her the benefit of the doubt. Now I have to ask an additional question.
How?
What were you doing to
Mhm.
where it got to the point where people came up to you and said your gayness is making us uncomfortable? I
Yeah.
highly doubt it was you in the privacy of your own dorm room, making out with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. Maybe it's not. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just skeptical of that. I
Well,
think you were
that's
maybe doing something intentionally to provoke
well,
and to get attention.
and that's the next step, is how
Mhm.
much of this is her being true to her own sexuality, and how much of this is Latter-day Saints rejecting the gay culture itself.
And I don't trust anybody, right?
Yeah.
When they come out to me, whenever I hear someone with a story like this with no evidence, and
Yeah.
well,
The
really also
general meme
particularly.
comment, show us the receipt of mind right away.
Well, you can't look. Okay, to be fair, it's extremely unlikely she would have receipts and recordings of somebody saying this stuff to her. Let's be fair about that one too.
Yeah.
But considering that the previous statement was, well, yeah, they said it was okay for us to be gay, but I'm getting a little bit suspicious on the whole thing. I'm suspicious as to why, if you're Canadian and you could go anywhere, and is that true? Can you go to Canadian universities for free? As I don't know, I really don't. As a Canadian citizen, is it like the UK?
I have
No,
no
not
idea.
at all. No, it's
You don't.
very expensive to go to university here.
Oh, okay. So you don't get that for free.
No,
Okay.
I had to take
She
a student loan to do my trade.
But
Oh fuck, man.
but she could have stayed in Canada and done her schooling online
Oh, right.
through the church.
Yeah, sure. And gotten the same
Received none of
benefit.
this. Yeah. Received
And
no. It would have been cheaper.
yeah, well, she doesn't pay for residency costs.
Mhm.
Now I understand. To be fair, people want to do the college experience. There is a thing about that.
Granted.
But
I
you've
understand.
chosen to have the college experience at BYU, and you
Exactly.
know what BYU is.
Exactly.
So my sympathy for this is like, it's. I gotta go look. No, I gotta go try to find it at the bottom of a barrel. Like, you've made these decisions, and also now I don't know, but looking at least the lady on the left, she doesn't look 18 to me. Neither one of them look like they are super young and made this mistake as like teenagers. They both look like they're in their early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
I could be incorrect about that. That's an assumption. You can transfer. You go somewhere else. You could have gone back home and made it with and brought your girlfriend with you, and you could both attend online. And you could sit there and scissor all day while you take online classes. Sorry for being grotesque, but let's just be honest.
Dan
I got
handled
it.
the thank you. Okay.
Thought that's the one to ask.
So yes, let's continue with the sob story.
Contributing hundreds of millions of dollars to BYU. Tell them, what's it like to be bisexual at BYU?
Oh my goodness, you're so scared because they allow this atmosphere of homophobia to permeate. I have the best.
It's not homophobia.
I'm not afraid of you.
It's family. It's literally wanting. This is what blows my mind. It is not phobic in any way, shape, or form to want any individual to be able to fall in love with someone they can make a family with.
And that is a large calling, of course, of the Mormon faith, is to have a lot of children, right? To reproduce as much as you.
We hold true that the first commandment ever given was in the garden, and it was to multiply and replenish the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It remains in force.
Okay. Yeah.
Seems fair.
Simple as.
But that's this specific faith. There's, I again, why I can't have sympathy for this stuff. I know that you're part of the. I can understand your family is part of the faith, and you want to go to a school that is related to your faith, but you have to know then if you're coming from this how is this a surprise to you? You can go to any secular school you want. You could go to a community college, wouldn't cost a hell of a lot more, maybe a little bit more than BYU if your family are members. But
yeah. All right. So continuing on with this. No one's reporting you for giving your friend a kiss on the cheek.
Mm.
I guess my last question for you is, why are you still here?
Yeah, good question.
Mm-hmm.
Despite everything that's happened, I believe in Jesus.
No, you don't.
It's cheap.
I'm sorry. Come again, Aydin?
I think it's because it's cheap.
Yeah.
For them.
It's
why else would you be
quality.
there? Yeah, it's a quality university that is respected around the world. Whatever people think, BYU is not a bad, not in any way, a university or college or whatever, that if you have it on your CV, I mean, that's a good university. It is respected globally as a quality institution.
And I certainly respect it more than, say, Harvard or Yale.
Well, regardless of that, but it doesn't really. And if you're applying to a graduate program or you're applying for a job, I can't imagine any place that's going to look at BYU on the resume or on the CV and think that's some kind of mark against, if not maybe a mark for. So you're going to this institution for next to nothing.
Yep.
And they're asking you to do basically one little thing, which is don't make out with your
asking
girlfriend
you-
in
Yeah,
public.
what they're asking is that you curb your animal instincts while you're
Yeah.
in public.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
You
it.
kind of ask
And
that
if
of
that's too much,
everybody.
and if that's
Go
too
elsewhere.
much, go elsewhere. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
The church is at its best, sweetheart. The problem is you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just had to. I just had to.
No, you're right. You're right.
Well, I mean, if we expect the left to have self-awareness, we're expecting too much, clearly.
The Mormons keep bankrolling BYU.
All the need in Canada.
Yeah.
All the need. Look.
Then stay in Canada.
No. This is what pisses me off.
Oh, I'm gonna soapbox.
This is not Canadian money. It was
Yeah.
money taken from church members to their church to serve the church.
But
Canadians
there's
are not. Yeah.
their argument, though, which is the really insane thing, is that Canadian people's money is not theirs. It really belongs to Canada.
Yeah.
That's why they're upset. That's really the Canadian government's money that you're taking and giving to a religious institution. You read through the lines as to what that part earlier was about, and what's being reiterated here is
Mhm.
that you took the Canadian people's money that was supposed to go to the government and did what
I
you wanted
love
with it.
this.
Yep,
I love this
absolutely, yep.
comment.
Yep.
They could also go to Utah Valley University, which is also cheap, but they won't because they're activists first.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Zane.
Yep.
Exactly. All right. Continuing.
It does raise the question for me, why is it easier for the church to move Canadian religious donations out by moving it to a private American school?
Because it's owned by the church.
Yeah, that's
And also, that's the way the law is written in Canada.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense because that's where the university is.
Yeah.
Cracks started showing in the church's wall of secrecy, and it all started here in Las Vegas, Sin City no less. And the church would soon realize what happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas.
Guess how much this has to actually do with Vegas?
Yeah, I'm also wondering why this guy's still wearing the same T-shirt.
McKnight walks in the desert of his decisions. Once a faithful Mormon, he quit the church, accusing it of decades of racism and homophobia.
Lol.
I dedicated a lot of my professional career to ensuring that truth and appropriate transparency exists, out there. As a government regulator, I worked for many years as a government regulator.
Okay,
Oh,
I
Fed.
instantly lost all respect for you.
Yeah, fuck you, Fed boy.
I have no respect for you at all.
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay, and here's another thing. These people asking for transparency. You know what? Fine.
I'd like
You
the
can have-
U.S. government to have some transparency.
No.
Yeah, right.
I will go an ounce further. You can have all the transparency from the church you're willing to pay for. That's the big thing about auditing that people don't appreciate, that the people really don't know. The cost of the audit
It's massive.
is insane.
Because you have to look at how many revenue streams are coming into the church. Okay, so how many millions of members? We have 17 million members, I think it was. 18 million members. So you have out of that many, let's say 10 million people give tithing in some form or another. We'll put it like about an even half. Let's say 9 million
Okay,
give
Aydin,
tithing. And then you have all other donations from businesses and things like that contribute as
Aydin,
well. It's impossible.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Uh-huh.
Because what this man uncovers is the Mormon industrial complex, which I have
Mhm.
told you,
Right,
I'm
right.
extremely proud of.
Okay.
that we should own and be extremely proud of, and he and his cohorts reveal for you
Okay, all
how
right.
extensive that is.
Oh,
and how
okay.
much
Jumping the
auditing
gun.
how much auditing would be required. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, yeah.
This is amazing.
He started his own website, Mormon Leaks, to expose secrets, including what the church does with its tithing money.
Breaking news into the live desk right now. New documents have just
Can you turn it up a little bit again? I feel like it was louder before, but it's gone down again.
Has it gone down? Let me.
I don't know. It might just be in my.
Is it?
Because I can hear
better now?
you. I can hear you two fine, but
Is it better?
I don't know. Press play again. I can hear you two fine. It's just the video is a little quiet.
Better?
It's a little, yeah, a little better.
That
yeah.
is, yeah.
Okay.
stock holdings through these 13 random LLCs that they had tried to hide.
The funds control about $31.9 billion in investments. The LDS Church declined to comment for this story.
The reason why they have tried for so long to keep these portfolios under wraps is because they are concerned that it would lower people's willingness to pay tithing.
Citation, bitch. No, really. I need a citation. Show me where that is even remotely the case.
Is there an internal email that you got?
Yeah.
Or that you found that shows them that, oh, we better look. Okay, I'm not. By the way, what he's suggesting could very well be true.
It could,
but it's conjecture without evidence. And I don't know. He very well could be accurate, but you can't just say that as if it is a fact without having an internal email or some kind of recorded conversation that says that's why we were doing it this way.
Okay, let's see if they have any receipts.
What does that say to you about the church?
Yeah, I personally would find that problematic, because that's
nice of you to use the lefty word.
Yeah, I that word triggers me using my own lefty word.
Holdings in the U.S. His most ambitious investigation into the church to
Private land holdings. Keep that in mind.
So, property.
Yes.
see the Mormon Church as a business?
The Mormon Church will have you to believe that it's a religion that dabbles in business, but the evidence clearly shows that they are a business dabbling in religion, 100%.
Okay,
do that.
Go do that with the Catholic Church, by the way, asshole. Like, just saying.
I wanted to ask, does this make the Mormons or the Ferengi rather on DS9 the Space Mormons?
I guess it would, right? Yeah, but do this with any church. Do it with.
Yeah.
Have you looked at?
No.
Let me introduce you to the Vatican.
Aydin. At the end of this, I'm going to show you what all those land holdings are for. In fact, they show you part of what those land holdings are for.
Yeah.
It will blow your mind.
Yeah. Before we go on, I have to point out that after I watched this as part of my research for the story earlier today, I was speaking with my girlfriend, and one of the things I pointed out was that have these people forgotten the Pope used to poop on a golden throne?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, exactly, Zen. Yeah, Zane. How about the government? Pick one. Anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And by the way, we'll show you what these land holdings are for.
Excellent.
The other side of the continent. Josh Bigley is now an ex-Mormon living in PEI. He feels the church has lost its way in its pursuit of wealth.
It's been a long time since I've had to quote that scripture, but the idea is if you bring your tithing to God, that He will open the windows of heaven and you will have everything that you need. That prosperity gospel is false. Jesus never taught that. It's not the way that the scriptures should be interpreted. That's the way that Mormon culture interprets.
No. Let me explain to you how the Mormon...
They didn't have him read the scripture.
No.
Cut that off.
Let me explain to you how the Mormon Church actually uses it.
Well, what is the scripture? He didn't read it. They cut him off right after he clearly stated it.
Yeah.
And then this cut him off after he said whatever it was.
Okay, and there's a reason they did that. And the reason it isn't because, the scripture was right or wrong. The reason is because the way that the church actually does it isn't says that if it'll open the windows of heaven, so on and so forth, the prosperity gospel. Latter-day Saints are not a prosperity gospel by any stretch of the imagination. It rains on the wicked and the just. Fair enough. What we say, we are a covenant people. And if you are under the covenant, you are priority. You are under the covenant. You will be taken care of by the wealth of the bishop's storehouse, by the wealth of the church. That is what we teach. That is what we practice. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, let me ask you, and you can give me the by the book answer, but I'm asking you for a sincere answer if you can.
Oh, go ahead.
Because we know things don't always go by the book. Now, I do know that LDS gives to people all over the world. They do charity giving and work. If somebody in America, let's say, came to the church who's a member and says, I've lost everything. I'm poor. I'm broken. And, I don't know, something happened and they've lost everything. What would the church do for that person in reality, in seriousness, if they truly went and were asking for assistance?
Okay.
Can they do anything, and would they?
Yes.
Because there's not a lot of Christian churches would at least be like, I can give you a toaster, I can give you a place to stay, and that's from usually individual church members. So
let me tell you a story. One is personal. You know that I recently lost my job, and we recently received welfare from the church assistance.
Oh wow, okay, right. So you
Not
would, no, you would
okay.
know very from personal experience quite recently, yeah.
Not only do we assist, not only are you given are you taken care of it by being given okay. Most food pantries that are charity driven are scarce. They run out very quickly. They're very they're ramshackle. They're
Well,
very
I've worked for, well, worked for.
okay.
I've
Let me explain
depends.
something
Yeah, go
to you
ahead.
about the Bishop Storehouse when it comes to the Mormon faith and our welfare. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You leave the storehouse with carts and carts of food.
That is awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
And let me explain
And that's
something
from
to
you,
you.
your personal experience. If you're okay, yeah, talking about it,
Oh
of
no,
course.
not only this, but everyone in this economy has experienced shrinkflation.
Yes, yes.
That does not
Mhm.
exist in my faith with our welfare system.
Mhm.
It is increased.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shrinkflation phenomenon has not hit. And Nephite in the chat is getting to the crux of it all. Church welfare is largely grown by the church. All the land that you've been cajoled into believing is for some nefarious holding purposes for,
Well, which they're implying, right? Yeah.
yes, they're implying that it's ill-gotten gain. No, it's self-infrastructure. It's
Mm.
self-maintenance. It's farmland. It's agriculture. The people who make welfare food for the church are the ones who have to eat it. So it's
Yeah.
delicious.
Well,
It's phenomenal.
but the church has, because again, I'm a total outsider. The church has a welfare system built into it.
Yes.
Well, look, again, I don't know, but if that is the case, then this whole tithing thing seems to be a little bit, or their problem with it, that it's predatory and it's demanding every single person must give. The way that this documentary has framed it is much akin to like Scientology, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got to pay your way in, and Scientology has no welfare system in it. For example, there is no we'll help you out
Yeah.
if you're struggling. If you can't pay your dues in Scientology, you're gone.
Yeah. That doesn't exist in our church at all. And if you are not a member and a member goes to a relief society president or a bishop and says, I want relief funds for this person that I personally know, they'll fill out the order.
That's awesome.
Would that person, you think, be pressured into
No.
joining the church?
No.
I mean, that would be my fear or my concern there.
Look, you would get a visit from the missionaries to help you load the groceries, maybe. maybe that. But that's it. If that. Now, if you are a member of the church and you get welfare, like I'm completely expecting a call from my bishop saying, Brother Stormin'Mormon, would you please come? Would you please come down to the building and help clean on this weekend? And I would, of course, say yes, because that is the ethic of our church.
Mm.
If you take, you serve. You pay your
That's
tithing to help your fellow man. You,
Well, that's
it's
the point.
actually kind of Heinleinian.
Yes, and
Yes.
that is the point of a large point of tithing in any part of the Christian faith, and the Muslim faith as well, which is I don't know much about if Jewish tithing or if it exists at all. I don't know anything about that. I don't even know if it exists, but I know a bit about Islam, and tithing is again built into it's one of their 5 pillars. And supposedly part of that is to cute. You give me a documentary about how you're supposed to give 10% of all of your income. Every single person in Islam is supposed to give 10%, I believe, of their earning to.
Mhm.
Where's the documentary about how that's predatory? Sorry, but the whole point of that is so that you can help the less fortunate members
Mhm.
because we're supposed to, and it's in the churches I've been a part of that are part of Christianity. Yes, it is to maintain the church, but part of maintaining the church is to maintain the community. And that means helping those who are less fortunate. It's exactly what Jesus said. So are you going to build beautiful, incredible, wonderful churches? Yeah. That's to the glory of God. These,
Yes.
incredible temples. But you also
Mhm.
take that money and you keep it aside so that you can help people when they're down on their luck.
Well, and
That's
let's continue
it's a little
on
bit
what.
communist to be fair, but
Yeah,
in a good way. It's a good.
let's continue on because the
Mhm.
rabbit hole gets deeper.
Mm.
Like Ryan in Las Vegas, Josh wanted to know where the church was spending all its money.
Please do
So he
tell.
scoured
Mhm.
financial records.
Tell me.
Were you surprised at what you found?
Stunned. Absolutely stunned.
Yeah, that word
I'm
means something
breathless.
different in Newfoundland.
I can't believe how many corporate entities in the U.S. there were.
Mhm.
I actually didn't know. I wasn't sure where to go next. And that's when I realized the best thing for me to do was to reach out to Mormon leagues.
So Ryan and Josh teamed up to add up what the church quietly owned.
We essentially cracked a code that allowed us to open up the window to this massive real estate holding.
When you build out these complex corporate structures, you do it for one purpose and one purpose only. And that is to hide.
Yes.
They built a map.
It could be okay.
If I may,
It might-
if I may here.
Yeah, go ahead, Ardent.
Two randos.
Nephi, we browsed publicly available records and were super surprised, and then asked Salt Lake about it.
Yeah, we have public available records. We found cracked the code.
Exactly, yeah. 2 randos who had no idea what they were doing talk about how they're educated as some sort of investigators.
No, hang on. Remember, one was regulations. One is a
Was an accountant,
Good
right?
point. One does have a little bit of inside baseball there. You're right. Yeah.
No. The guy at the beginning, what was the accountant?
Okay,
This
yeah.
guy is the Fed regulators.
This is the Fed, right? This is the Fed boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But I
let's.
thought he said he worked with the other guy who was the accountant.
No, he's working with another guy who left the church because.
Oh,
reasons.
yeah, the guy who runs the wiki. Okay, yeah. I thought that was the. I'm face blind. Autism.
It's okay. It's okay, but continue on.
Yeah, I get a kick out of the fact that 2 randos were able to find all this information and they cracked a code. Dude,
Yeah.
you sent in access to information requests.
No, I
At the
think they
very
just
most.
found publicly available. From the sound of it, it was like they looked at publicly available records.
Yeah.
Maybe they did a FOIA request, but it doesn't
These
sound
are-
like it. I
No.
feel like if they had done a FOIA request, which first of all would make it, or something equivalent of that for private companies, which
Yeah, I
don't
like Nephi's
exist.
comment here. I worked at the IRS. I'm qualified to talk about this and how to dodge taxes as a church.
Here's another thing.
Go on.
My immediate response to that is, oh, they're a tax exempt organization being tax exempt, and you're
Yeah.
upset that they have multiple different avenues that they're using their tax exempt status in
To avoid paying taxes.
To avoid paying taxes as a tax exempt entity.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you? I'm just. Oh, this is getting very silly.
It is, but but this is the Fifth Estate exposing the Mormon Church in Canada.
I
Apparently.
am so disappointed in these people.
Information most people didn't know.
Well, they could know. Apparently, if they use the internet. But oh well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, heaven forbid you use that device in your hand that accesses damn near the sum total of human knowledge.
Right.
But yeah, okay, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah,
Church
sorry.
Christ of Latter-day Saints owns over 1.7 million acres. The portfolio is estimated to be worth $15.8 billion.
Okay.
Nice.
This past spring, they released the results of their investigation.
What we uncovered is that in terms of dollar value, even if you go on the conservative end of it, they are clearly, without a doubt, the wealthiest single landowner in the United States.
Okay.
No question about it. Nobody comes even close.
Okay, Aydin, let me
Yeah.
put this in perspective for you. This means that as of right now, despite all that has happened, the Mormon Church has outcompeted Bill Gates. How do you feel?
Okay. I find it difficult to believe, but provided it's true.
Oh no, it
Based?
is.
Okay, then based.
Exactly.
Fuck Bill Gates. Yeah, I look. Bill Gates is one guy. This is a community of 18 million people. I'd much rather they. What are they doing with it? Are they gonna force people to eat bugs and live in the pod?
No.
Doesn't
Well,
sound
maybe,
like it.
maybe.
They will show you what we plan to make you do with it. Where is it? Where
It's
is
gonna
it?
be some pod living in bug eating, I'm sure.
Yeah, or living in like a border wall
Yeah, we're
or something.
2058 right now. We'll get to it. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Maybe abroad. Who knows?
Okay, so Aydin, if
Mhm.
you had to choose between the Mormon Church and Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab, who are you picking?
Well, the Mormons, but I'm a Christian, so it's not really like. And also, Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates want to engage in mass human extermination policies, and they won't say it that way, but we need to. They have said, Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates have both overtly and directly said that we need to massively reduce the human population. Which, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that,
Oh, I don't know.
Klaus?
Convince everybody to undergo some sort of medical procedure or something.
Oh, that would be weird, or
Yeah,
you know,
strange.
I don't know. I have no
Yeah,
idea how you'd reduce the human population by a couple billion.
At this point, I want to point out something. Aydin, you just said yourself that you're Christian. Now, I am very much an unconvinced atheist. And if you offered me the choice between the people that, if you take only the atheist side of my personal background or makeup, if you only take that, by that ideology, I should be more aligned with people like Klaus Schwab and the Party of Davos. There is no way in fucking hell I would ever align with those authoritarian globalization.
Who, by the way, hate you. And
God,
they
love them. I
their
don't mind.
open and overt contempt for regular people is truly astonishing.
Yes. Please continue to hate me because I'm white. Continue to hate me because I'm straight. Hate me because I'm male. That just makes me smile
You
harder.
just got to add Christian onto there. There you go. Then you can make the trifecta. It's not even trifecta. It's
Quadfecta. Who knows?
Quadfecta. Yeah. Septifecta. I forget when you get to 5. That's 7 sept. Whatever.
Yeah.
Nephite in the chat. The Mormons are running a massive human breeding operation.
They are doing that. You got to watch. That's what they're doing. That's why the WEF hates you. Yes, you're anti-WEF.
Yes.
What is like there's like meme ads where it's like the Klaus Schwab hates them. Watch how they fuck with the World Economic Forum with this one simple trick: heterosexual sex.
But
Oh
but
my
let's get
God.
back to the video. Who
Yeah,
has asked a
sorry.
very important question: Why?
Why?
Yeah, that is
Reason for it.
why.
Wow.
Rainy day fund. And it's
Right. That's what a massive global organization, rainy day fund. Stop being a pedant.
Collaborating on their project, and through all that time, they'd never actually met before. Until now.
Wait for it. They are.
It's guy love between
It's getting a bit long there, guys.
two guys.
At the end, did it tell you about truth and transparency?
that it's hard, that people are highly motivated by money. I think that's the one thing for me that I observed was when there's money, the accumulation of wealth involved, truth and transparency often take a backseat.
Anytime an organization's operational budget is primarily made up of tax-free donations,
It's a tax-free organization.
Yeah.
Like, do you actually have a learning disability? Like, I mean, like, I'm look, I shouldn't be mean. He's special.
I'm not going to act like
Okay,
I've lost my
I'm
first.
gonna add some kicker to this. This is the guy who runs Mormon Leaks.
Right. Yeah.
Mormon Leaks was famous for doing stupid things like our prophets and apostles receive a stipend from the church money pool to compensate for what they should have made in their professions, in their professional careers, instead of doing that career or job, because their full lifelong calling is now running and operating the church as an ecclesiastical organization. That is their life calling now. So
Wait, so you pay priests to live?
Only 15 of them.
Oh, there's only okay.
Now,
well, the Catholic Church, for example, pays thousands and thousands and thousands of. They don't pay them, but they provide them with.
No, Aydin.
Okay.
I need you to understand something.
Sure.
As a culture,
Yeah.
we are a lay priesthood.
Okay, right.
As a culture, what you have to understand is that these apostles and these prophets have.
See, those words kind of hit me wrong as a other denominational Christian, but go ahead. Sorry.
I understand. These are men who worked their way up through merit and influence, and how do you? What is the word for it? Ethos? I don't know what the proper term is for
Just
it.
describe it. I'll try to see if I can pull it up in my brain thesaurus.
They became qualified between God and their peers to be elevated in status and stature.
That sounds disturbingly like a meritocracy.
It is. It is. They also were men who were doctors, physicians, lawyers. We're talking about Supreme Court shortlist ranking people.
Okay.
We're talking about people who were our current prophet, the current corporate head of the corporation of the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That head honcho was a heart surgeon who was one of the first people to make a
artificial valve or something. I feel
not
like
just, not the valve, the actual apparatus to perform quadruple bypass surgery.
Oh, geez. Wow.
The apparatus itself. This man is a pioneer in his scientific field. He is a literal pioneer-breaking heart surgeon. This organization is responsible for releasing their stipend. And every time that they release it, every single critic of the church has looked at it and said, holy shit, that's lower than I thought it was.
But their stipend, you mean that the church pays for these people to
live.
To live, right.
And supports their families. And by the way,
and they've left their previous occupations to work full-time for the church.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big deal. If you're leaving these massive, okay, understanding what it is, that's a huge ask.
Not only is it a huge ask, it's always less than they think these 15 old white fuddy-duddy men are supposed to be taking. because
And
they think that they're gouging the church.
well, I'd like to see what they were making beforehand.
Exactly.
But that would be my only question. But however, if you're moving into religious work, you're going to take a cut no matter what. I would to a certain degree.
Well,
But
no, you know what, Aydin?
again,
Let
it's
me
a
be
big
honest.
ask, though.
Let me be extremely honest.
Mhm.
The families and the men who take these positions are extremely well cared for. And
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 3 times what they would have made normally. I don't care.
Okay.
They are living such a life that there's among the general authorities, there's a saying, sealed for eternity, separated for life.
Okay, right, yeah.
That's the kind of lives these people live. I don't care if their children and their grandchildren get spoiled with exorbitant birthday parties or whatnot. I don't care. That's their burden, and if there is money given to support these great men who work their way up through a lay clergy to these high positions of authority, I don't care. I don't care.
I see where you're coming from. I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but I immediately think of Jesus in the temple with the moneylenders.
Okay, how did you get there?
Of people who are making money selling things in the temple, right? Which is they do you know what I mean?
No, and let me.
I'm just
I understand what you're trying to say.
right. I might be expressing it poorly, but
There is a fear that they are
profiting.
abusing the widow's mite.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
And that the culture around our tithing funds is, to say that it's uptight would be wouldn't be
It's
sufficient.
I understand why people get upset about money being involved in the church to a certain degree, because Jesus said, not in my Father's house.
Mhm.
You will not do business in my Father's house. I'm misquoting, but you know what I mean. Of them when they're in the temple and they're selling stuff and all of that, and the association of money and profiteering. And I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I can understand why people start to get a little bit suspicious of that. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I do. And I'm not, what I'm saying is, and what I'm trying to convey, even with all those fears and apprehensions and all of the projections as to what people think these men are, the ways in which these men are supposedly abusing these funds, every time these funds and exposés are released, they're always significantly lower than they projected.
And
Always.
I brought up that issue with Jesus being upset at the temple, but I also would bring up that in this particular documentary's context, that again the Catholic Church pays for thousands of priests and nuns to live on the church's dime, if you want to call it that. People who have given their life entirely, and these people don't have families but it's a little bit different because, as you've said, the Mormon, the highest calling is family, right? Whereas
Yes.
for priests and nuns, it's the antithesis. It's you're married to God, or you're not having a family in the Catholic institution, at least, and all around the world in other Christian faiths, you have ministers who get big money. Gonna put on my ring. Pentecostal minister gonna come out here and I'm gonna tame some snakes and look at all my gold rings. Like if you're gonna get mad about like people abusing money within different forms of religion, it's everywhere. I think that if I was critical of that, though, I think I'd look at the Pentecostal ministers with their gold rings and their gold chains first. But that's just me. Don't know.
Yeah, the new international version of the Bible has it that Jesus said, "Stop turning my Father's house into a market."
Well, okay, and to give extra context on the temple, this doesn't matter, but it just needs. My autism won't stop me. What the priests did at that time was they had essentially priced out the poor.
Mhm.
They had said, if you don't buy sacrifices from
Yes,
this
yes.
market with these shekels and these weights and these measures, you cannot worship.
Yes.
And the Lord said, "Oh, I'm not having that nonsense.
Right.
You will not price out the poor from worshiping their Lord."
And they weren't just doing that though, they were just selling shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they were selling the right to worship, which is in and of itself unfathomably messed up.
Get your
And
Hobie Sepulcher pencil toppers here. Get
but
your...
it was that stuff too, though. It was here's your Yahweh
yeah,
pencil
kitsch.
topper, like and
Yeah.
it was, yes, here's a chicken you can sacrifice, and here's which was leading into paganistic shit was also happening in the
Yeah.
temple back then, which was not exactly even
Kosher.
kosher by
Kosher.
Jewish
It
law.
was not
So
kosher.
literally not kosher by Jewish law. So there was all kinds of weird stuff going on back then, which of course infuriated Jesus.
Yes.
When we had one major anger outburst of destroying the trading tables in the temple there, because it disgusted him, as it should
I
have.
love it. I love it when the Lord cleans his own house.
Right. But that's why I could see
I'm
why
sorry,
people
I have to
would
do this.
get
Clean
upset.
your room, bucko.
Basically, yeah. Jesus went to the temple and said, "Clean your room, bucko."
All right. So yes, and this huge cultural conflation between, oh, the church is being shady, to we're tax-free donations.
Yeah, that
why?
one.
So as we were with these particular gentlemen,
They have an ethical obligation to be transparent about their finances.
no, we have an obligation to be responsible with our finances.
You have an ethical and you have a legal one.
Yes.
These two ding dongs being like, we're gonna find something the U.S. government that the IRS hasn't figured out. Do you know anything about the IRS? They
Yeah.
know more about you than you do. And that's the IRS, my dude.
Yeah.
When we come back, our investigation into the Mormons' books takes us to Australia.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I wanted to acknowledge that I
Let's smoke
did
another
not
cigarette. I'll be right back. I'll be listening.
willingly. I gave it because I had to.
I despise this. I just because this is the point when they go to members who were formerly of the faith and they feed you the line, "I did this because I felt like I had to," and this infuriates me because it's like it's like as if you had a girlfriend who you broke up with, who went to her therapist, and the therapist informs her that she was raped. And you're
I see exactly where you're coming from there. Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, absolutely not. BS calling it 100%. You are being fed a line that no one even asked for. But going on.
And I don't believe that rubbish they're peddling. I want my money back.
Thank you. I am honored beyond description to be here with all of you today.
As questions around the Mormons' finances grew louder each day, in a rare move, the church faced the press.
The last time a senior leader of our church spoke at the press club was in 2000, President Gordon B. Hinckley. It's good to be back.
Here in D.C., the Mormons came out swinging.
The LDS Church has more capability than any other church in the country to help eliminate poverty. What more could the church do in terms of humanitarian efforts here?
People want to bang on the church and say, well, you've got all that resources. Yeah, and it's a good idea for other people to follow that example.
The church said it was...
And I'm sorry, but who are you to determine what our fair share is? I'm curious.
Saving and spending.
This
releasing a
is
report
reminding
said
me of Bernie Sanders saying billionaires have to pay their own fair share.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. That was Mitt Romney that was in that shot. I thought it was.
Like members actually like him. True.
Yeah.
No one likes him.
Well,
in 2021 alone, it provided $900 million in aid to those in need around the world.
what bastards.
Generous donations from our church members, as well as friends of the faith, allow us to support the initiatives I just described and many, many others.
Notice they don't even show the clip where he lists those initiatives.
And I'm going to assume he went on at length.
Yeah, he probably did.
But with its massive investment fund and property holdings, the church actually gives away just a small fraction of money collected for the needy.
Do you not know how investments work?
Yeah. That's.
But we'll continue.
Well, just to point it out, I like how people will say, "Oh, Kanye West is worth X billions of dollars." Yeah, that's his potential earning potential. It's not what he's actually got in the bank.
Yeah, indeed.
Australia, it's a completely different story. According to government tax filings, the Mormon Church in Australia donates a staggering 70% of its tithing income to charity, making it one of the biggest charities in the country. So, is this a case of unbridled generosity, or is it something else?
Do they get massive tax kickbacks if they do that? Wouldn't have an issue with that because they're still giving to charity.
Yeah.
Journalist and a team from 60 Minutes Australia.
So the idea then that in Australia it was disproportionately charitable, that 70 cents in the dollar was going out as charity, just made no sense.
Even less sense when you see how the giving has increased dramatically while the number of Mormons in Australia has declined.
As recently as 2014, the amount of donations that went through it was $200,000. But we see within 5 years, that's gone from that figure to $73 million a year. We can see that figure there. So we're seeing an escalation in donations, which is 2,000-fold over time. It's an incredible amount of extra money.
From $200,000 to $73 million in charitable donations. But why? That led us to a Mormon insider with a story of his own to tell.
Do you consider yourself ex-Mormon or post-Mormon?
Gee, I haven't really thought about the distinction. I never even use those terms to describe myself. I don't know how I describe myself. Just, I think I've become a free thinker.
And that's another reason why I have non-Mormons with me in the stream, because of the idea that because you're in the church, that you're seeing it from an insider's lens, that these liberated outsiders have a more enlightened view. No, that is not true. There is a neutral ground here where reality actually exists, where we can expect things to play out. And I don't like the perspective that you are only taking the side of the church because you're in it. That's partially why we're doing it this way, and why I'm enjoying the back and forth between Ardent and Aydin. But continuing.
A free thinker, a barrister, and a law professor who held senior roles with the Mormon Church.
I was a substantial tithe payer, and I happily parted with a lot of money on an annual basis.
How much money do you think you gave the church?
Oh, it'd be in the hundreds of thousands, but may even be more.
Okay, I'm sorry, but tithe is still determined as 10% of your income, yes?
Correct.
Okay, if this guy gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to the church, that means he was making tens of millions of dollars.
Yes.
Why on earth are you complaining now? And
good question.
More importantly, What happened to the rest of your money if this is a problem for you?
No idea.
Yeah, this guy. Oh God, does he ever irritate me?
Continuing, because this is funny.
In Canada, tithing money isn't tax deductible. Mormons here only get a tax break when the church donates their money to charities.
It's very much smoke and mirrors.
No, wait.
Wonders why else.
Okay, so if members of the Mormon Church in Australia only get a tax break if the Mormon Church in Australia donates to charities, and the Mormon Church in Australia donates at a massive rate higher than they do, we'll assume, than they do in, say, Canada, because it did say early on that 70% of the tithes are donated to charity. That means that the members of the church get essentially government rebates for their tithing if the church donates it in Australia.
Australian officials are enraged that the Mormon Church is rigging the game to benefit the members of the church. That is their anger.
Then I absolutely agree with, I don't know who the fellow was that was at the press conference with the press corps or whatever it was in D.C., but I absolutely agree with him. That is a framework to emulate, not destroy.
That is an apostle, Elder Bednar.
Okay.
Elder Bednar is his name. He's a good man, obviously.
I would say I'd like to sit down with that man over a coffee, but I imagine he doesn't drink it.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yes, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. This ex-member right here is angry that the church is donating its tithing funds through charity so that its members can benefit from tax break benefits.
Real quick, too. So this guy, as was said, was tithing hundreds of thousands, meaning he's a multi-millionaire.
Ardent just went over that, yes.
Yeah, I know. I
Yes.
was listening, right? So it is not like I'm not trying to do again the whataboutism, I guess, but I kind of am. Because if we're talking about predatory sects of Christianity, or I don't know if sect is the correct word, denominations of Christianity,
This is
or
the opposite.
any religion.
Yeah.
If you want to see what predatory actually looks like, again, look at the J-dubs. The J-dubs are if you have, it's not just 10%. It's that if you have money at all, every extra penny you have must go to the church. There's, because I've known Hard Bastard for years, and I remember he's reacted to, and you can find they're on YouTube, of propaganda videos made by the Jehovah's Witnesses. And they're things like a family and they've got 5 kids, and it's like, can't afford to, we're going to have to eat real lean this year because we haven't given enough. And that's the propaganda that the JWs put out. Another thing that people should know about the JWs is that a large portion of their members are impoverished, particularly Black inner city people, who get taken into the church because they say, oh, you're struggling, you're suffering. Well, when you get into the J-dubs, you have to give every available penny you have. That's their kind of tithing that's expected. The 10% is what's normally expected, not within the J-dubs. And I'm not saying the whataboutism is, where's the Jehovah's Witnesses documentary? There's many, obviously. But if you're talking about predatory sects or denominations, if it's 10%, that's across the board how it is in not just Christianity, but Islam. So go complain about Islam if you're mad about it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's compulsory in Islam, by the way. It's not an option.
I actually have to be moving, so I will be doing that shortly. I'm going to play the video as I'm moving and mute myself, so let's enjoy a few more minutes. I'll pause it as soon as I'm done so we can get the commentary in.
Have the church's donations to charity
Oh no.
Oh dear. We have technical issues.
Well, he's moving. I think it's fine.
Yeah. It's not that big a deal. He's probably not
No.
moving terribly far.
Yeah, that whole thing there was bizarre. How much is he making?
Yeah, like, why are you so unhappy about this if you're making this kind of money? Like, it's a pittance in that case.
Wait, he's talking, but I can't hear it.
Yeah. We've got no sound.
He probably can't hear, so.
True. Let's try it in the chat.
I'm sorry, what?
We have no sound.
Oh.
Well,
How
I knew
did
you
that
were.
happen?
I don't know. I knew you were
I
moving,
don't know.
so it
May
was
have been
probably.
something to do with the
All right, well, give me a moment.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was it's not. Is it not? It's not required for you to tithe, from what you've said. Maybe look down upon, but not required. Well, I think, okay, if you're making millions of dollars, I think it heavily is encouraged. I would
probably.
accept.
Oh,
right?
God. Excuse me a moment.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so
There we go.
let me see here. All right, so
There we go.
No.
So, is this a case of unbridled? Mormon Church's charity is now one of the biggest in Australia. And
Yeah, here we go.
Yes, it is a duck.
Oh, wait.
This
Was
is
that where we're at?
This is about where we're at, yeah.
Church says that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, let me start the cam again. Kick back. All right, let's pull this up.
A handful of volunteers make these decisions. You don't run one of the biggest charities in the country with no paid staff.
We do that. Yes, we can.
Yeah, what doesn't make any sense? This is. What do you mean you don't run a charity with no paid? This is such a weird, like, modern leftist idea of, like, well, yeah, I'm a charity organizer. I make $500,000 a year as a lead charity organizer. No, that kind of defeats the purpose of charity, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they forget, or it's like when they leave the church, they forget everything they were ever taught. It's a lay clergy.
Another thing
it's all volunteer.
That I was thinking about when I was out having my cigarette and listening here is, where are the people who are still within the church in this documentary?
They're the accountant. The accountant is one.
Yeah.
Is he's still in?
He's still in.
Okay.
Well, he's probably not anymore.
Maybe not after this. It seemed like he was then thinking about leaving, right?
Yeah. And this might have been his way of burning the door frame on the way out, as it were.
Pretty much. But continuing, they're incredulous that Christians can have Christian ethic in terms of not being paid for their services.
I
charity.
can't imagine. Like, someone would do something for free.
I know.
Out of the goodness of their hearts.
What?
And they're not practicing priestcrafts like we've told them. I know. Continuing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
The fact that it doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what?
It says more about them than it does
Just
about
tells me this
anyone
guy's
else.
completely profit motivated.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Salt Lake City, which would violate Australia's tax law. So he's part of a complaint to the charities regulator.
More feds.
You know, this seems to be a pattern of behavior that doesn't really favor the church very well in how it looks as a church.
You know, it's walking like a duck, it's squawking like a duck, but the church is telling me it's an albatross. But in the end, you come to the point where you realize that, yes, it is a duck.
From what he's seen, Ben believes the Australian Tax Office should investigate.
There's live questions about whether the church has engaged in wide-scale tax avoidance.
They're not subject to it.
Exactly. Oh,
This is I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. This is nonsense.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's
It feels like lay people, even or people who have no, even though I know that they do, which is makes it more bizarre. Like atheists, like edgy atheists, being like, why don't they pay taxes? None of them pay taxes. No religious institution pays taxes if they're found to be an accredited, established religious institution. By the way, if you feel so inclined, you can start one yourself.
Yeah.
If you get enough people and you get accredited as a legitimate religious institution, you don't have to pay taxes either, ding dong.
I'm technically an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church. I
There you
could
go. I'm technically an
Technically,
ordained minister of the Church of the Subgenius. Praise Bob, hail Connie. Woo.
oh. So continuing on with this,
That's a real estate in the state of New York. That is a legitimate religious institution that doesn't have to pay
seriously?
taxes. The Church of the
Or-
Subgenius, yes, it is in the state of New York, but only in the state of New York.
And Zane and the fighter pointing out in chat that Scientology did that.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. L. Ron Hubbard created an entire religion out of a whole lot.
I mean, the Church of the Subgenius is literally, if you don't know anything about the Church of the Subgenius, it is an anti-religion religion, and yet they do not they have tax-exempt status, or at least they used to in the state of New York. So you can make a fake religion where the whole point is to make fun of religions. I can become an ordained minister and marry people in the state of New York, or at least used to be legally. Yeah, I did this when I was 18 as a meme, but still. So I don't get where this is coming from if you realize that this is how churches work. And that anybody can kind of do this if you got enough people who are on board and say, we're very serious. We are very, very serious about, again, with the Church of the Subgenius, we worship, I dropped the meme a long time ago. They worship the greatest salesman who ever lived, J.R. Bob Dobbs, and his wife Connie, and they are tax exempt. So get off your weird horse on this one, okay?
Yeah.
Illegal wide-scale tax evasion.
In a statement, the Mormon Church insisted it has not violated any tax laws in Australia. Donations are used for overseas aid projects that satisfy Australia charities and tax rules.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're not breaking your rules. Now fuck off and leave us alone.
It gets better. It gets better. It really does.
Just very straightforward. I want my tithing money back.
That's
You
not
gave
how
it up.
works, Skippy.
Come again.
You gave it over voluntarily.
Yeah. And
That
and,
is
and
not how it works.
yeah, and that's what I was telling Art. I'm like,
Sorry.
this idea that and this is why I have non Latter-day Saints on the stream with me to kind of, really get hone the message in. You were not coerced. That this is not something that if you're in the church that you're blind to, that you can't see or that you can't appreciate. These people were not coerced. That this is something that is made to.
I mean, it sounds like greed to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much money the guy gave, but
Oh,
millions of people every single day, billions of people give money to churches of some form or the other.
Yeah.
You feel bad now that because you've left and decided to become an atheist, presumably, which nothing wrong with being an atheist inherent, but now being like, give me my money back that you gave of your own volition.
Well, surprise, surprise, they also became activists.
How curious.
Yeah.
Well, how about
Indeed.
sometimes I've bought a burger that I didn't end up liking later because it gave me indigestion. Does that mean I can go demand my money back?
I was going to point out this is like the college Sunday morning walk of shame, regret. Oh, maybe I was raped. Or I mean, the thing for this, like this guy looking to get his money back. I spent years in a church before I became an atheist, and I did tithe out of my own funds. I would never have thought about asking for that money back.
That's an insane. I can't even imagine
Yeah,
that
it's
thought coming into
that
anybody's
is
mind.
that is beyond grasping to me.
Well, I guess if you become convinced that the particular church you were a part of is a predatory, money-grubbing, evil organization, I guess I can see where that thought process would come from, but I'm
Yeah,
struggling with it. I'm struggling with it.
vindictive and vengeful.
It is vindictive and vengeful. I think you need to find Christ, my dude, to deal with that vengeance.
I think that boat has sailed.
Yeah, apparently.
So this is Nathaniel. He's my youngest.
Nephite, you know, if they get that money back, they have to pay taxes on it.
Oh, he would.
Oh.
He would. Oh
Oof.
no, you'd have to pay the taxes.
Oof.
That's hilarious, actually.
I love it.
Oh,
I love
and
chat.
they may
Well done.
have to and they may have to
Well
give
done.
back any sort of rebate that they got from the government for donating in the first place.
Then
on
they're
top
gonna.
of
They
that.
might have to file. They might have to file a whole bunch of new taxes, and go get a fucking attorney or not attorney, accountants to go help them figure that out. How much money do I exactly owe the Australian government?
Exactly.
All of it. Come on, it's a government.
Yeah, it was costing.
He's trying. That guy looks like he's trying to make a swastika with his body.
Mhm.
Into your break with the church.
Yeah, it was pretty big actually.
Then they came to the crossroads, their family or their faith.
Nathaniel is gay, and the church has a very limited acceptance.
We've been over this though.
Yep.
That means that they actually do accept gay people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's limited, but it's still acceptance.
Indeed.
Who knew that my son was gay? I would say, well, you have to love them. To like them.
That's what tolerance is. That is the definition of tolerance.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I was actually working at the Australian Crime Commission when I got the call that my son had.
There's a whole bunch of static coming through. I don't know who it's from.
I think it's probably from. Yeah.
Got it. Sorry about that.
It's the beardy bugger on the
No,
top of the
the
stack.
beard is attacking the
Feel the
mic.
power of testosterone flowing through his face.
And we have Zen.
Yes.
With the following comment.
Yes.
Well, there he is.
I'm gay and active in the church. Everyone loves me. You know it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be the unlovable one in the room. It didn't have to go that way.
And I'm very happy for Zane. Like that strikes me as something wonderful.
It's awesome, yeah.
No, I'm glad that we have people like Zen in the chat because yeah, my brother's gay. I have a gay brother, and he's not active, but he defends the church.
Mm.
So it's not like this is the norm, or this is what is expected, or this is some seedy underbelly. These are activists.
I don't know. If you're so upset about this religion that it's not okay to be gay in it, go to Saudi Arabia and try to be gay there. I don't know. Have fun.
Go to Iran.
You go to Iran. You go to Iran, and actually, Iran might be better than some of the other, and Saudi Arabia might be better than. I don't know. Pick any other. Those are large Muslim countries. Pick some more backwater one, and go try and be gay there and see what happens. Pro tip and spoiler alert: they're going to throw you off a roof.
Yeah. And this is what we're going to go into. What happened after they accepted their gay son?
Mm-hmm.
They started asking questions about the Mormons.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, that's the messaging that you receive through the church anyway.
Okay.
With allegations of tax avoidance and billions.
But they don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
This is why they keep bringing this up, but it doesn't make any sense. They're tax exempt. That's what being a tax exempt religious institution is about. Did you forget like that tax exempt part?
Yeah.
The word.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it really is just complete. Just it's a hate boner. It really is just this church bad because we want it's one of two things. Either the government wants a bigger slice, or people literally want to audit us out of existence.
I think, judging from the whole framing of this particular documentary or whatever it's supposed to be,
Mhm.
I think it's government. Daddy government want his money. Where my money?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before we move along, I'm going to get you to scroll back just a tiny bit to the last headline that came up. It had the word "rort" right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That word caught my eye because I've never seen it before. and
Nor
I'm
have I,
curious.
actually, to be fair.
And I looked it up. It means it is a noun defined as a scam or fraud, especially involving the misappropriation of dun 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 public money or resources.
Public money.
Mm.
Again, people choose to spend their money on this, but that really belongs to the government. That money, you should spend that on your taxes. That money belongs to us. This whole thing is some weird Canadian commie crap. I'm just saying, like, this is some socialist bullshit. I can smell it on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't wrong.
So continue because we still got about 13 minutes to go.
Yeah. It's getting
It's
late.
all worth it. It's all worth it.
Okay. Yeah.
Allegations of tax avoidance and billions invested in U.S. properties, Sue and Trevor have joined experiments in the U.S. who want to
Ah, my dude, the mic, the beard.
The beard has struck again.
I want that acknowledged. I want it acknowledged that I did not give the money willingly. I gave it because I had to, and I don't believe that rubbish they're peddling. I want my money back.
Yeah, good luck, loser.
Yeah, that's sounds like.
Yeah, again, it's like, I got breakfast and it gave me a tummy ache. I want my money back.
Indeed.
It wasn't because I didn't get food poisoning, by the way. It just didn't sit right with me. Give me my money back.
This is where it gets really juicy.
Mm-hmm.
demanded an immediate investigation by the country's tax office into the Mormons' finances.
So, the people they wanted in power to get the job done are in power.
Okay. Yay.
Guess what happens next?
Let's see.
There's a new government in place here now, and the man who demanded that immediate investigation.
You gotta move that mic away from the beard because it's. Sorry.
Yeah, or possibly the exhalation or something. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. It's just that it's. I'm not trying to be a dick. Sorry. But
No.
It's very loud.
Hey, if it helps the quality of the stream, you're all good.
Thank you.
I think we're probably good now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You can go full shaved like Ardent.
How dare you? I have a beard.
Oh, a little, yeah. You got.
I have a little cute beard.
You know what,
Yes, you do.
Aydin, I will take that recommendation to heart. Mrs. Carnell will surely appreciate it.
Look, I would never let Bill in a million years shave his beard or his head, and because he's losing some hair. He won't mind if I say this because it's true. He's like, I'm just gonna shave it. I'm like, you will not. I love your beautiful hair and your lovely beard. So, but unfortunately, beards can be a bit scratchy on microphones and faces.
Nephi in the chat. I have a little cutesy beard.
Okay, guys, back on topic. Good heavens. I know it's late, but please endure with me.
Yes, let's try to finish this nightmare up. I had no idea I was going to be exposed to this tonight, guys, but thanks for inviting me. And
you're quite welcome. I'm actually very, very happy you came in because you tend to strike me as an authoritative voice.
Oh, yes, I always. I do speak an authoritarian voice. I don't know. I don't even know what does an authoritarian voice sound like. Probably something like that.
1940s German accent, maybe?
Sure, exactly. I guess so.
Yeah, my problem is this is
Unfortunately, when I think about the Germans, I think they sound like this, which is very authoritative.
But you guys got to understand, this is the latest news against my religions. I'm like, I have to bring my friends on this.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, and I completely understand. Yeah,
this is propaganda up to 11, and
it sure is.
I couldn't even believe it.
Mr. Minister, Mark Kelly from Canadian Broadcasting.
Lovely to see that.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
This is the guy.
We asked him about the calls by Neville and others for an investigation by the country's tax office.
While in opposition, you demanded for an immediate investigation by the tax office. You're now in power, but is that investigation currently underway?
Well, those investigations take place at arm's length from government, as it should be.
Lee says he can't confirm if there is an investigation, but he did say this.
Oh, I think it's important that everyone is playing by the rules, and I think that when you've got anyone that appears to be not playing by the rules, then that can undermine the integrity of the tax system.
And was your concern here that the church was not paying its fair share in taxes?
I think it's important that all charities are appropriately scrutinised for their tax behaviour.
I agree.
Of sheltering yourself from appropriate tax payments.
So, is there any investigation?
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
No.
I agree with what he said. It should be investigated.
No. I agree, but have they found anything?
Let's find out, I guess.
Indeed.
Neville asks what kind of church sits on profits from generous tax breaks instead of directing it to people who need it.
You son. Okay.
You said 5 minutes ago that 70% of everything that the church takes in goes towards charity.
Yep.
This own documentary, do they think that people here have that, it's called anterior grade amnesia, where they forget what they heard 5 minutes ago? Oh, I don't have anterior grade amnesia, so excuse me. I think you said that 10 minutes ago.
And it's like they missed the part where the church's crime is not that they're collecting this charity money. Their crime is allowing their members to claim it as a tax break. So for them to then flip the script and say, is it going to the people who need it? Yes, it is benefiting the members who gave the tithing in the first place.
Again, at the beginning of this documentary, they also talked about how the money was going to people all over the world. You might not like how it's being spent, but that meaning going to fund the church all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it is going towards helping people all over the world. So, look, dude, I don't know. I had a really neutral opinion towards Mormonism before watching this. This is making me more positive towards it.
Absolutely Streisand effect. It's like
yes, good job.
Every one of these propaganda, they don't seem to get that the Streisand effect is an actual real phenomenon.
It sure is.
All you're doing is jacking it up to 200 and going,
by making me
don't look over here. Don't look over here.
By forcing me to ask very basic questions. Now, of course, Stormin'Mormon's been here to answer many of them for me.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you weren't here, I would be asking these questions, and I'm not getting answers. And in fact, from this documentary, the documentary is contradicting itself every 10 or 15 minutes. So if you're someone who's watching cogently, right? If you're someone who's watching cogently and actually paying attention, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
For their whatever point they're trying to make about how Mormon evil.
Yeah, but we still got about 10 minutes left. Let's work through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I know.
I know. It takes another hour.
No, I think we can get through it pretty quickly.
But what, to use your word, what is evil about a church saving money for a rainy day?
Because the rainy day is definitely here. So yes, I do hold what I said. I think it is an evil doctrine in third world countries at least.
Go ahead. Have at him.
Okay.
I actually don't even understand what he said. I mean,
exactly,
I actually...
Because there's a lot of background information there that's simply not being provided.
So
like the way that was edited is strange.
This is this kind of bullshit thing where, oh, you haven't solved world hunger? Well, then I guess you should give up then.
Why would you buy Twitter instead of solving world hunger,
Yes,
Elon?
yes, that's what it was. Ardent, that was the thing I was thinking about, but I couldn't remember what the recent thing was. That's it. Oh, Elon Musk, you're the richest man on earth. Why don't you solve world hunger? Well, Elon Musk could solve world hunger using all of his money for about a month. Okay.
But guys, when we come back, the biggest revelation yet.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah. Okay, there's clearly something coming up. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if they do something that's illegal, I'm going to call them out on it because that's the right thing to do. And they taught me that.
Okay.
We've been mischaracterized since
Let's go.
1830. That's always been the case. I don't think it will ever go away.
In 2012, the president of the Mormon Church cut the ribbon on this luxury shopping mall in downtown Salt Lake City. It's built right across the street from the Mormons' majestic temple.
That thing is so big, everything is across the street from it.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again, Ardent.
That thing is so big, everything in Salt Lake is across the street from it.
They've got one in
Yeah.
Maryland. I've seen it. The temple.
they're
Every time you drive down the highway in Maryland, you can see the temple. It's
Yeah,
huge.
I used to drive past the one in Curdston in Alberta.
Mhm.
It was frigging gigantic.
Yes.
It's a
It is
beautiful
majestic. I put it that
Yeah.
way. If nothing
It's
else.
a beautiful building.
Well, okay. But the money. Let's talk about the money.
We got
Let's go with the money.
It means that something is working.
But Lars Nielsen, a sixth-generation Mormon, says this mall is more than a symbol of Mormon prosperity. It's also a symbol of deceit.
Lars Nielsen went public after his brother, a former investment manager for the LDS Church, filed a whistleblower complaint to the IRS.
Lars is now at the center of one of the most explosive revelations to rock the Mormon faith in decades.
So in some ways, I could say that it's the Mormon Church's fault that I am an IRS whistleblower because I'm just evangelizing the truth as I see it.
Oh, what an interesting choice of words.
Uh-huh.
What a fascinating choice of words.
The church,
Yeah.
an investment fund worth $100 billion, built from tithing money.
Note that key phrase, built from tithing money.
So they took their money and invested it, I'm guessing?
Ding, ding, ding. But let's make them say it.
Yeah.
Those monies, allow the tax deduction, and then you never perform any of those types of services, you're in essence just stealing a little bit of money from everybody.
Meaning,
What?
Let's go on.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars in Apple and in fossil fuel burning companies and energy companies. All of
no, not the evil fossil fuel companies.
Are what churches would invest in. And so that rattled people. And then the lack of activity in doing something that money is designed to be used for. Nothing religious, educational, or charitable.
Whoa.
This is the BYU feeding their members education all over it.
They took the tithing money, invested it to increase the money in the church coffers, to make it so the church could do more with it, and they're complaining?
Yes.
Not only are they complaining, but they also acknowledged earlier in the documentary that we've used this money to be the largest land-owning mass in the United States, that we've used our educational facilities to amass, what was it, $100
Well, they want you to
billion?
pay taxes. They're upset that you don't pay taxes. That's what it is. They want you to pay taxes.
Yes.
But
And
still,
no.
70% of it goes towards charity. They said this earlier. 70% goes towards charity. Oh no, more money. You took the money, you invested it, made more money. More money goes towards charity. Oh, how awful.
The thing is, Aydin, I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is that they're seeing these investments pay off, and they're looking at.
Oh, they're seething.
Okay, no. It's
Exactly.
better than
They're
that.
doing better than we are, and we don't know why.
No, it's better than that. It's not only are they saving, not only are they powerful, we are invested and hooked into all of the major corporations that are afraid of us.
Yeah.
Corporations like Apple, Microsoft, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, everything that is against the church, we have our hooks in.
Look,
We're invested in.
Yeah,
Not to get
I see
too
why you told me
tinfoil
to
hatty.
wait for a minute because this threw me for a loop as to
Yeah,
how they.
not to
that-
get not
And
not to get
and
too
and, and,
tinfoil
and what?
hatty. But what it seems like to me
Sorry,
is
Ardent.
that they're mad that the LDS Church is out competing the people who
Yes.
bribe the government.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. That's how it comes off to me.
And
Wowee.
and
Oh,
Zen
yeah.
Waters hit that on the nail. Increasing your talents. The Mormon Church takes that parable and applies
Yes.
it literally.
Well,
Our
you-
master is away, and we have been given an investment. We've been given talents, and we have made more.
Yes.
That's our job.
But it's the job. It's to spread the word of Christ across the world. And how are you failing by building a beautiful new mall? By the way, with one of the many things that you have, in addition to all of your the charitable donations that are going out. You build a
Aydin.
lovely mall. People can have a nice time. I don't see the problem here at all.
What they're going to reveal is that we collected tithing money.
Mhm. Transformed it
we
massively.
Yes, we transformed it, and from the interest of the tithing, we purchased a mall. And now you talk about spreading the truth and spreading the gospel and whatnot. What
Yeah.
other church has a workforce of 50,000 missionaries across the world?
Again, I do bring up. I brought up the out not in my father's house part earlier. Jesus getting upset about the traders. It's not in his house though. It's across the
Exactly.
street. It's safe,
Exactly.
and it's clear separation here, right?
It's
Okay.
down the road. What's
Right, that's fine. And they're paying for it to exist so people can do their trading. I'm totally okay with that.
And look at the last two comments in chat.
Hmm? I don't have
I
to
was
chat
going to
up.
point that
Sorry.
out.
Okay. From
Nephi said the
Nephi,
church is more solvent than all the governments of the world combined.
it is. And God also commanded the King David to build a nice
Yes.
house to host the foreigners.
Yes, yes.
Of dignitaries. Yes. Yes.
Nothing about this is, oh my God, this is one of those things where it's like, huh, checkmate, Christ cook. Where you're supposed to, they expect you to do some dumb shit, and it's like, you must give up everything because you're a Christian or something like that. And no, that's not part of it at all. You might want to reread the Gospels a little bit. You might want to reread all of the entire Bible.
Oh,
Get the idea that we're allowed to engage in trading and things and to make our societies better. We should avoid greed and avarice. These are the problems. Making the society better and making people's lives better is not something to be avoided. It's that asceticism that I think is associated with Christianity, which is a falsehood.
Well, and another, this is not a parable. This is an actual miracle that occurred after the death and resurrection of Christ. After he went up into the heavens, one of the first things that Peter did as the head of the church was collect money from the membership.
Yes.
And Ananias and Sapphira learned very quickly that the Lord takes his money seriously. And he did it in a way that said, by the way, I'm still Jehovah.
Yes.
And for those of you who are not familiar with the story, let me expound. Ananias and Sapphira tried to connive and steal from the property that they sold off, and said, we're going to tell them that we got this much, but we actually earned this much. And they tried to lie to Peter, and Peter ended up killing them both when they both fed him the same crock of the same lie. So let's not pretend that the Lord, even though he will flip tables for doing business in his house, will not have a financially ordered house.
Because for better for worse. Whoa.
A lot of roar again there, man.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened, but for a second, but it went okay. It's fine though now. We're stuck on this mortal plane, right?
Yeah.
As a result of our first sin. So that means that we're going to have to deal in trade of goods and services, and we use gold or whatever, silver, some other ways of making money to engage in trade. So as long as we're living on the mortal coil, it's going to happen. And you can't pretend as if the church isn't going to, or any church isn't going to have some involvement with that as a way of having to preserve itself. That's what I find weird about it. Of course it must, because we are relegated and in our punishment to sorry, it keeps cracking.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if that's not my cable, but
I don't know. There's some kind of weird. Well, if you're hearing it, I don't know if it's yours. There's some weird feedback noise.
I'm
Whatever.
not hearing it, so it might be me.
It's fine.
Okay.
But we're here. We're stuck here. This is what and what we must live through in order to rejoin the Father, and the Son and the Holy Spirit in heaven. So it's going to happen no matter what. Right? Like money's going to be part of it. It's about violating it in a certain way and using it, which is again what Jesus's issue was using the church as a way of violating people's connection to the Father.
Yeah,
If that's what's happening, that is an issue. But I don't
Yeah.
think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, there's no evidence of that ever
That's
happening.
what happens with Scientology, which is not Christian, but you know what I mean. Like that's you have to pay a fee to be able to get in.
Yeah. So let's just try and wrap
finish this up.
because this is
Feature-length TV interview after going public in 2019.
Why do you believe the church was hiding this truth from its members?
If people knew that
Whether they made money,
$1 billion
Who?
and they weren't putting it to any use, they would be less inclined
but they did.
to continue donating to the church.
again citation.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Like, again, do you think does everybody here have Fetterman disease? They
They're all
earlier
Fetterman.
in the 30 minutes earlier, they talked about how many different places got money all over the world from the
Yeah.
Mormon Church. So, excuse me, like I'm sorry, I don't have whatever
Yeah.
brain damage you do.
Yeah.
And we've been talking for 3 hours, and I can remember
Yeah.
it. So.
People are upset about this. They know that the ethics are not Christ's ethics.
What?
I'm not so sure about that. What are Christ's ethics that you think are being ignored?
Exactly.
The complaint to the IRS.
Oh
was
no,
made
giving
by
to the poor, giving to people.
who oversaw
Not
the
very
funds
Christ-like at all.
at that shopping mall.
And then he started to hear that the leaders of the Mormon Church were
Oh,
saying
so
like
benefiting the community by making something lovely for people to enjoy, not very Christ-like. Look, I
Yeah.
get it. It is financial, and that is a little bit. This is what this is, by the way, is this new modern, like leftoid in particular perception that Jesus Christ was a socialist. And it's
Oh
like,
my gosh, no.
that's what, no, it's a shopping mall. Well, that's not very Christ-like because Jesus was a socialist because he fed the poor. No, he was not a socialist. First of
Nobody
all, to
can feed-
ascribe a political ideology to Christ
Yeah.
is, I would say, blasphemy.
Yeah.
In the
But
first place.
if you want to feed the poor, the best way to do that is to have as much money as possible to buy food for them.
Oh, that
Indeed.
yes, very true, very true.
But there's a kicker here. Let him finish.
Yes.
Because it's wonderful.
money was being used to build the City Creek Mall. And that blatantly wasn't true.
Really?
He had seen the journal ledgers. He had
Oh.
been in on these conversations. He knew that $1.4 billion had been spent to shore up the City Creek Mall.
From where?
The complaint alleges the Mormon Investment Fund should lose tax-exempt status because it's spending money on commercial investments.
Oh, really?
If they do something that's illegal, I'm going to call them out on it because that's the right thing to do. And they taught me that.
Okay.
Are they making money from the mall, or did they
Oh no,
build
no.
on their land
It-
and are
But
getting?
let's go to the statement.
Yeah.
Date. The church said it did use money from the investment fund for the mall, but specified it was earnings of invested reserve funds. So profit.
Money we had set aside to invest to grow the church that was not directly linked to tithing itself.
So this is money that specifically came from the money they invested from the tithing to expand their wealth. Then go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh God, Aydin, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
I don't know. I didn't know anything about this until literally just now. But you can go just go eat a big old wiener over this.
Yeah.
You are exactly reacting the same way I did when I first watched it this afternoon.
And I couldn't believe they had framed it this way so blatantly.
They
And
just
I'm like,
told you the thing, and then pretended that they didn't just tell you the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at
all
the
right.
So continuing.
these people just did. You mean that nice thing you told us they were doing? Oh, forget what I said 10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It's from the tithing, not the tithing itself. Lars says more than anything, the IRS needs to investigate.
Cope
You
and
just-
see the more loser.
You just told them there was nothing to investigate.
There's not, because it's not money that came from the tithing. It came from the investments they made from the tithing, in which case, cope, seethe, dilate.
And if you read the comments, if you have the comments pulled up, we have members in the chat telling you about how the church funds are being spent, orchards, farms, so on and so forth. So if you ever want to take a look at that,
These people they're all just, they're molding, they're salty bitches for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not in your religion. Something happened to these people that made them butt blasted. I don't know what it is, but
you know what, Aydin? There is a talk that was recently given that people think was in response to this, and it's probably true, but it covers the difference between accepting a gospel of activism to the gospel of Christ. And if you want, I would like to have you on for that one as well.
sure. I mean, I don't know what I can contribute, but something happened to these people that made them booty bothered. And this is because everything that's happened through this entire thing has been nonsense.
Indeed.
And it's
They
clearly,
are,
to me,
definitely rumbled in the bumbled.
yeah, rumbled at the bumbled. And to me, it seems that something happened to these people that was probably very personal.
Yeah.
And they're taking it out on other people.
Yes.
And wanting to convert them to their unbelief, which is when you're converting people to atheism, it's not atheism anymore, is it? It is a anti-theism theism.
Yeah. And that is exactly why I describe myself as an unconvinced atheist,
Mhm.
because I want to delineate myself from this new atheist movement or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right.
Because atheism is supposed to be a personal thing. It's not supposed to be some sort of organization with doctrine.
Right. And you
Yeah.
find people like this who've got their own little doctrines going on, huh?
Clearly. So continuing on, we're almost there, guys.
Do you think that this is a case of fraud?
Of course I do.
Of course you do.
When contacted, the IRS wouldn't discuss the status of the complaint with us.
Because there's no complaint.
Back in Canada, we learned the secret
What
fund
they're a 501c3 or whatever.
They really jumped real fast right back to Canada after that whole nothing burger from the IRS.
Yeah, well, whatever. Whatever. They're a 501c3 nonprofit, or I think that's the right term. It's not like get fucked.
Shopify, banks, and energy companies.
Uh-huh.
And the problem is,
behold, the source of our wealth and investment.
That's beautiful. Where is that?
Southern Alberta, I think.
They'll tell you.
But the church's financial footprint in Canada is even bigger than that.
The church has disclosed $1 billion in assets in Canada. Now, what exactly those assets are is hard to track down.
But you managed to be standing right in the middle of one. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But a
Right.
land title search has revealed at least 6 ranches.
Oh no, a ranch.
Sprawling property in southern Alberta.
I used to live in that area. It is.
Oh, no,
gorgeous
a
country
ranch?
Once you get far enough south.
Dozens of land databases. Those ranches add up to 60,000 acres.
And what do they do with the cows?
200 and 300 million dollars.
I guess they
Something
produce methane,
terrible,
so climate
obviously.
change-
Oh, right, they're farting up the atmosphere, yeah.
A generous portion of its wealth goes to charity.
Critics of the church, and in particular a number of ex-Mormons who I've spoken to, both in the United States and Australia, So the church, compared to other religions or a number of Christian denominations, is actually, it's not a very charitable entity. It doesn't spend a lot of money out there. It doesn't create hospitals. It doesn't create social welfare. It doesn't.
You're full of shit.
By the way, did you hear what he said? He said, people tell me this. He didn't have any evidence. He said, this is what I hear.
Yeah, but wait till they get to what those ranches are actually for.
Okay, yeah.
Do soup kitchens, that kind of thing.
What they've done is they've manipulated not only the nations or the general membership, but they've duped governments.
Guys, I want you to know that the Mormon Church has duped the governments across the world, creating tax laws that allow us to move our money as charitable organizations from one point to another while giving our members special tax breaks. We duped world nations across the globe.
You can't fuck with the IRS. The IRS, like, they couldn't get. Oh, what was the gangster's name? They couldn't. Al Capone. They couldn't get him on shit, but the IRS got him on tax evasion. If you think that the IRS is playing silly buggers, then you're playing silly buggers. What the fuck are you talking about? The IRS can't figure it out because they're doing too much complex mathematical magic?
Oh, geez, is that what those 87,000 new agents are for? To go after
Oh my gosh!
right.
Hang on! Stop! The general membership, but they have duped governments.
All governments, not just the U.S. Worldwide
governments that are strapped for cash.
Oh, of course.
The governments are strapped for cash, guys.
This is the most insane leftist bullshit I've seen in a hot minute. We need more money for our stupid social welfare crap so we can cut children's penises off. We need to tax the Church of Latter-day Saints so that we can perform more transgender surgeries and have the government pay for it. That's what I'm getting out of this. Maybe I'm making some leaps.
So we can tax you harder and manage it worse.
Right. Well, that's what it is. They want more money for their garbage crap they want to do.
Yeah. But I was just going to point out that.
Did you just catch that? Because the church is taking away the government's ability to fund healthcare. Which, if you know anything about Canada's healthcare developments recently, they're taking away the government's ability to kill its veterans.
And it's old people.
I do know about how the Canadian government wanted to put in kill me pods.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure there's a contract with what is it, Switzerland or
it's I think it's some Scandinavian country that's making the death pods. Maybe Denmark, something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but it's a suicide pod. So
yes, but the Mormons are not helping the governments fund healthcare, guys.
If the healthcare is abortions and death pods, good.
So,
and by the way, I know that can sound bad in either way, depending on who you are. Look, if I am not someone who thinks that Dr. Gevorkian was necessarily wrong. If you are at end of life and you are, I don't know. It's a different question for a different time, I suppose, because it's a complex one. Would you go to hell forever if you kill yourself when you're suffering beyond comprehension? But that's not what they're talking about.
No.
They're talking about people who are like, I feel depressed. I want to kill myself. And it's like,
but
can we help you, please? Let's try to please. Can we please help you so you don't kill yourself? Thank you. Can we not kill babies? These are things that I don't believe are healthcare. These are not healthcare. This is the antithesis of healthcare by definition.
There's an element of sour grapes here because the government is mad that the church manages money better than they do.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's what it is. Probably.
No, it's a big chunk of it.
So going onward. We fund our own goddamn education. We fund it ourselves. We don't need you
to do that. You're supposed to be
You're supposed to. Yes.
Canadian.
I will not apologize for being superior to the government.
Especially not the government of
Based,
Canada.
based. Look,
Never.
it's not difficult to be superior to the government, though. To be fair, like I don't know, just not be clinically retarded, and you're better.
Okay,
But
so this is my take. I will not apologize that the kingdom of God on earth is superior than Caesar. Not doing it. Not doing it. With like good.
the kingdom of God on earth is always better than Caesar.
Come again.
All you can try to do is mix the two so that Caesar is trying to follow to the best of his capacity the rule of God.
Yeah, and the ability to provide other essential services. Good.
Yeah.
And Zane is absolutely right. It is not their money.
Nope. They think it is. They also think it's their children, and that it's their body of
Oh,
yours.
did you see that thing from Swalwell?
What did he say? That
basically he implied that children are the property of the government.
he said that months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we have
I thought
done
so.
this. We've done this alleged fraud at the expense of taxpayer dollars.
There's no fraud. What are you talking about?
There is no fraud. They're not.
There's no fraud in
taxpayer
Bossing
dollars.
Say.
Exactly.
Oh, that rumble.
Yeah,
I
I don't know where that's coming from.
I notice I'm freezing when it happens sometimes too.
Yeah, same.
So it may just be weather related.
Maybe.
I'm sorry. Is it not working?
No,
It may
it's
just be
working.
weather related.
There's just a
it's
weird
working fine.
crackling
It's just that
that
crackling
happens.
and static every now and again. And I don't think you're necessarily responsible for it.
Okay.
So
Well,
you
who
won't
knows?
have to lose your glorious beard.
No. Yeah, because if you've moved it way out, so I don't know what the fuck it is then.
All right.
We're fine. Let's finish up.
Weeks to get an interview with somebody from the church. We're told is now out of town, unavailable, and there's no one else we can speak to, and they will not accept walk-in interviews with any official from the church.
No shit, because I know you're a cocksucker.
Reception said, "You're out of luck."
In an email,
This guy's been wearing the same shirt for like 3 days.
The law, the church
I
and
can
its
smell you.
entities pay all taxes and levies as required. Adding these entities also contribute to local communities and economies.
Christ was mischaracterized. We have been mischaracterized since 1830, when the church was reestablished. That's always been the case. I don't think it will ever go away. We don't like it, but we don't spend all of our time
What the
trying
fuck?
Yeah, I know. I'm getting that concept.
Bruh, hang on. You gotta stop for a minute. I don't know what this noise is. It is. I don't know if you agree with me, or that whatever it is, it's
Oh
unbearable.
yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it too. It's really bad, and it was starting to develop. It was starting to develop a rhythm for a while.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's bad.
What was it still going?
It's just crackling. It sounds like
Yeah,
a
it's
microphone being rubbed against the oh,
okay.
Jesus.
Gone?
No, that just got substantially worse for a moment.
Whoa. I did unplug my headphones for a minute. Not unplug them. Woo. I don't mean to be. I'm trying to be a bitch.
Yeah, no,
but
no, it is uncomfortable, and I mean we do have an audience to think of as well.
Okay.
Like the Ardent is the wire.
Are we good?
I don't
Just
know.
1 second. Let me try something here.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm not trying to be a bitch because I'd like to finish this up, but that sound is.
Okay, is it gone?
Is it gone?
Oh, I can't hear you guys. Sorry.
Now it sounds okay.
Okay. All right. I think,
Ardent, was it you the whole time?
No. I actually know what it was.
Okay.
I know what it was.
Okay, I heard it.
It's the microphone on my laptop.
That would be it. Oh, I thought so because I saw when you were moving your hand to touch the laptop to turn things on and off that it was making a
So
crunchy sound.
I have it balancing on my knees now.
There you go. Oh, okay.
So it wasn't my.
Oh,
okay, I'm gonna put my.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize. Just I kind of thought I was I don't want to be a bitch about it, but it was very loud and very.
Okay.
Now, if you're not listening through headphones, it's probably not so bad. But I was like, sorry. Let's continue. We're all good now. Thank you. Oh, we should be good now.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish this up.
Authorized since 1830 when the church was reestablished.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
It's always been the
Yes.
case. I don't think it will ever go
good.
away.
Everything's good, Ardent, I think.
But we don't spend all of our time trying to respond to it. We have a mission to fulfill, and we're moving forward to accomplish that mission.
In the end, our whistleblowers in 3 different countries say it's time for the church to be transparent about its wealth.
Why?
The Mormons' books.
Most churches in this country run on $1 to $7 million operating budgets. They make money from bake sales. Small community congregations.
Oh, fuck you, by the way. What a lie. What an absolute fucking lie. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry. I'm certainly I'm now like 2 drinks in. And I'm certainly a little bit irritated.
In this country, maybe there are a few in Canada too, but in this country there is one giga church, and it's the Mormon Church.
Good.
You are
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, how could you be any more wrong?
Because it's literally
It's propaganda.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Although
This is straight up propaganda.
Although it's good to see
Yeah.
a church investing funds in blue chip investments, that has to be balanced against
I love this
how
part.
those funds could be used to benefit the lives of individuals and families.
Screw you. It benefits the lives of those who are in the church and those the church can influence directly on the ground. Perfectly fine.
Right, but this is the thing is, well, why aren't you just giving it to randoms?
Yeah.
And which appears to be that you are as well.
Yeah,
but
but we don't have to.
Only randoms. Don't help yourselves at all. Don't make
Yeah.
sure that people within the church can receive. Like 3 hours ago, I did not have the opinion on Mormonism that I now have, and it's because of this fucking documentary that it's changed in a direction they did not intend. So good job, excellent
Well,
work,
this is
fellas.
the unintended consequences of my
Individuals
actions.
in the church. A lot of people who are suffering could have their suffering alleviated if instead of diverting those monies into investment, they invested in individuals and families.
They do both.
How much of a return are you going to get out of individuals and families?
No. My pantry.
I understand. I understand.
My pantry and my education.
What? I'm
have
sorry.
done both of those.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
You Beardo. Here's the thing, Beardman, big McBeardface. If you want
A lot of
to,
comments about beards.
if you want to
I don't feel
increase
personally attacked.
the amount of money, no, don't worry about it. If you want to
I'm just
increase the humanitarian aid, and the Mormon Church is taking the money that they've taken from tithing, they've taken some of it, they've invested it, they've massively increased their earnings, and they take that and give it to people and help them and help families, then what the fuck? Just because what are you suggesting? They just take the money and give it away. Instead, they're taking the money and expanding it so they have more money to give.
Okay.
I'm having a bit of a hard time understanding how this is a bad thing.
I have 2 things to add. One, it is insulting being talked down to about charitable donations from the Monopoly Man.
From Monopoly Man, who
from this
apparently
secondly,
made so much that he spent hundreds of thousands in his 10% tithe.
There
Yes,
was something
but
else I wanted to point out. They
secondly-
listed him as a former Mormon official.
Yeah.
So
He was a stake president and I believe a mission president.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's never been like one of like the top. Like he hasn't been a 70. He hasn't been a general authority. He's been a local area leader.
Mhm.
But the second thing you don't know is that you know that mall that we put up.
Yeah.
Do you know that? And I remember this from when they opened it. Nearly every single vending machine in that mall is part of a charity cause.
Nice.
So yeah, you put in $1 to get your Dr. Pepper, and it gives a certain amount to probably the
No,
Red Cross or
no.
something, whatever.
Literally, you walk up to put in a dollar amount
That's fine.
to give to some charity. These are the only kinds of like vending machines that there are there, and it's the
Let me
amount
see.
of the amount of disingenuousness with Monopoly Man here is
Yeah.
it is galling because he knows better. He knows how much infrastructure is involved in a mission. He knows that the church pays for airfare out of pocket. He
They're
knows
called
that
giving machines. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's galling.
Do you fear that by
Yeah, I
speaking
found it immediately upon looking it up. They give. Okay. What do
They
you
give
want?
what?
What? All of them give certain amounts of money to charity, right? What else
Yeah.
the fuck do you want? I'm honestly questioning. What else do you want?
Oh, you looked up the vending machines?
They're called giving machines, and they've set them
Yes.
up. The LDS has set them up all over the country. They're in that mall. They're all over the place apparently, and I don't know if it's the regular vending machines, but they're all over that mall. So you can just anywhere you can go and buy something. I think that's in the machine, and then it goes towards charity.
Yeah.
And they're all over the U.S. now, but of course they're all over that mall.
Yeah. Because
So
we started them.
yeah, well, yeah. Get more mad, cocksucker. Sorry, this is making me very angry. You've now made
Yeah.
me angry.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, no, I'm offended on a multitude of levels here because I mean, oh god,
To have broken those covenants or just taken ill, that they will excommunicate that individual. And then I thought about my kids.
oh, they hold on him here. What?
Thought about my kids and how I wanted them
Explain. I know he's
Are you gonna
emotional, but
cry?
to know that they can make changes. And then I decided, you know what? I'm not ashamed of what I did. I am not afraid of anything that has come out.
I don't understand.
I want my kids to know that I wanted to be an example for them, to show them that they can be comfortable with who they are, whatever they are,
That's fine.
and to never turn their back on themselves.
By trying to sue the church
Or
with a
just-
totally fallacious lawsuit.
Perspective. The church teaches
Well, he's not even suing them, just by
focal point.
with nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
the temple.
okay.
By the way, like I have to be honest.
I'll
I'll say a couple of things here before I and I find some of these giant temples a little bit creepy. I just do.
I think they're awesome, personally.
I think they are awesome as well. But like growing up and up until today, pretty much have found them creepy because I'm not involved in it, so I'm an outsider, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it looks
I would find them imposing for sure.
imposing is probably a better way of saying it, right? Because I'm not involved. Like, what goes on in there? You know what I mean? But that's a long time ago that I originally. But I can see how people would also feel that way now. Like these are kind of intimidating buildings.
Yeah, the thing I was going to bring up, like the way that guy was talking about how he's trying
Yeah.
to set an example
What
for
is
his
he
kids and stuff.
talking about with his kids, though?
Yeah, but the thing is, he's talking a bit about as if he's trying to set them a lesson, but
For
he's
what?
exactly. He's not providing any sort of ideal that's motivating him.
That's what confused me.
Yeah.
What ideal are you trying?
Yeah, what are you
That's
trying to emulate? Are you being honorable, forthright, truthful? Like, pick
yes.
one.
I brought up the building because it's
On the
screen
nail.
here. And the screen. These buildings can look intimidating from outsiders who see them and they go, "What the fuck is that?" Like
Well,
it is
Aydin,
intimidating.
These are supposed to be structures worthy of being literal houses of the
Of
Lord.
God. And
Yeah.
I get that. But I can also see, having seen them as a child and growing up and been like, what the hell is that? It's unrelated though, for what was the real point there, which is that, yeah, I don't know what is your what are you teaching your children here? To
Yeah.
be to lie? Is it the message? To lie, to take down something that pissed you off in some way? To
No,
take down
this is the message. It is more important for you to quote unquote speak your truth and be an
your truth.
activist
Your
and be an
truth.
activist
Mhm.
than be loyal to the Lord.
Oh, absolutely. These
That's the
people have
message.
no respect for God. And by the way, it is like for better or for worse, whatever it is, I know for a fact, and I think you're of course an atheist, Ardent, but I would call myself a non-denominational Christian right now, only because I'm trying to come back into the Catholic faith, and that's going to be either Catholic or Orthodox. I'm trying to figure it out. And so right now I'm non-denominational. Sorry?
I said good luck on that journey.
Yeah, it's either one. By the way, either one is a journey because both of them are not probably as stringent as Mormonism, but they also don't want
Might I suggest
randoms.
Mormonism?
Well, they don't. They also don't want randoms kind of walking in and
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the lesson I would have taken from that, the way that guy was talking, would be that it's more important to seek revenge when you
that's
feel
what
wronged.
that again. Yeah, and where I was going with that thought process is that I think we have to come together as Christians in a certain way, either as Christians or as good people, and realize that the people we are fighting against, who make videos like this, are evil. They call us evil because it is projection. That's all they know. So
Yes. And the reason I wanted to have people like you and Ardent on is because I need people of my faith to realize that when they look at videos like this and they are internally disgusted, it's not
Mhm.
just them.
No, it's everybody.
It's not just them being their tribal selves, being
Mhm.
ignorant of what other people see or feel. No, other people look at this betrayal of your faith and are equally disgusted at
Yes.
the thing being done to you.
Yeah, I used to be for 10 years I was a pagan. I was a Norse pagan. I've come back to Jesus, and so sometimes if I'm not always like the best on my scripture and stuff, I
Odin's
apologize.
lost his Jesus game.
Oh, whatever. But I'm but now I'm like trying to figure out it's either Orthodoxy or Catholicism for me. But that's for me. That's what's for me that I've decided on. You're not going to convert me, don't worry. But I don't think you're trying to.
No.
And
I will
but
let the
it can
work
be
of my Lord speak for itself.
It does. It does
Yes.
that. And that's the amazing thing. It does. And everyone can find you if you want to, you will find Jesus. You will. He'll find you. He's there for everybody, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. If you want to, but you have to accept him first. Then the other parts you can figure out later, right?
All right, so let's go over what
Finish
he
it. Sorry,
thinks
my
this
my little
temple.
bit of a Christian, my general Christians simping and being like, just you can find Christ. He's there. He's always waiting for you. You'll be okay. That part aside.
But we really need to know what this temple has become a physical reminder of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Of greed for me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
The temple
It's a symbol of the glory of God.
Not just the glory of God. It's a symbol of family.
Hmm.
Not only is it a house of God, the temple is the place and the reason. You know that the Latter-day Saint Church is the leader of genealogical work.
Right.
I know
Oh
that,
my
yeah.
God. Well, my
The
dad.
temple is why.
My dad. The reason I became a Norse pagan, by the way, you're responsible for it. It's your people, Stormin'Mormon.
Really?
Because my dad loves genealogy stuff. He's been fascinated with it.
Oh.
And about 10 years ago, a little bit more than that, 12 years ago, he was trying to finish our family genealogy. And he went through the Mormons because he went through like all the other platforms and got so far. Went through the
Yeah.
Mormons and found the largest, most cohesive and comprehensive version of my family's genealogy.
Yes.
That went back to at the very for like the very bottom, the very bottom of this giant list says my 45th great grandfather is Odin, king of Asgard. And I went, well, I'm going to become a Norse pagan now. Right? It's your fault. No,
Look,
just joking.
the
Yeah.
reason that we build temples as
Mhm.
the house of the Lord is to unify the family bonds throughout the generations.
Mhm.
We perform the ordinances, the saving ordinances for our dead, and that they might remember us and that we will be linked to them. The
Mhm.
whole spirit of Elijah thing.
Yes, yes,
And,
yes.
and and it's the whole ethos of the Latter-day Saint faith that God is our Father and that we need to be united as a human family.
Family. Everything is about family.
For him to turn the symbol of
Yeah.
family into a symbol of greed, it is beyond the pale. It's beyond the pale. I do
Yeah.
not
I do
care.
agree with that.
I don't care what your reasoning is.
He doesn't. Well, the person who's talking has been in the faith, so how is he confused by what the temple is
He's
supposed to
not.
represent?
He's not. He's not
That's
confused. This is
Mhm.
malicious because ignorance is
Okay.
no longer an
Right.
option.
Right. Because I don't know that about. Oh, that was it. But I don't know that about your temple, right?
Yeah.
And most people don't. But now people who would watch this trash would see that and they would think that's a symbol of avarice. It's a symbol of our wealth and not a symbol of a representation of our connection to our familial history. Great
Yeah.
job, asshole.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
following program may contain mature subject matter and coarse language.
Oh,
Viewer
crap.
discretion.
What? Oh,
I think it looped.
yeah.
It did loop. So I just cut it. I didn't
Okay.
I didn't close it before, but so yeah, that was the grand expose.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, 4 hours ago, I thought I have to be honest. I thought Mormonism might have been a little bit kooky. A little kooky. I'm serious. I thought it was a little kooky.
I don't blame you.
I've been convinced now it's not kooky because of the stupid expose.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this silly
It's very
attempt to
different.
make you turn against them more
Yeah,
actually
it's
had the reverse effect. Good
precisely.
job, CBC.
Yeah,
Watch it.
great work. It's very different from my background and understanding of Christianity, but nothing about it seems like that's not Christianity to me, or that's some weird cult. And instead,
Yeah.
it seemed like they were trying to make it appear that way in a way that they had no evidence to evidence, you know?
Well, they were trying to make it seem insidious, and
Yes.
it's anything but, really, I think. Like there's a certain degree of secrecy, but then again,
I didn't see any really even any evidence of that, of the secrecy that they supposedly
nothing. Well, certainly no
were
more than
talking
you'd see
about.
from a government, or actually far less than you'd
Well,
see from a
good.
government, to be fair.
Fuck the government.
Well,
So
and here's my thing.
And there's the minor
They
history.
they quote unquote exposed us using public searches,
oh
Google
no.
searches,
Hmm.
and claiming that we're trying to be secret, quote unquote cracking the code.
Yeah, and then complaining that the IRS isn't doing anything. Well, because the IRS hasn't found anything. Ding dong.
And if the IRS couldn't find anything, what do you think is there?
And the people who made this, their mind, it's because they must think that the LDS Church is somehow owning the IRS, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, I've talked to enough conspiracy theorists and people who have stupid ideas to anticipate that that's probably where they're coming from. They think that you've bought off the IRS and it's all a big conspiracy theory. And by the way, were big conspiracy theories in life. Probably not that one. Just a
Actually,
suggestion.
you know, Ardent, I think you and I need to do a breakdown of at least the first part of the zeitgeist, because that's one conspiracy theory that needs to die. Anyways,
Okay. You know, my big thing on this, as a Canadian-ish, I'm a Newfoundlander. I still don't think we should have voted the way we voted, but leaving all the shady shite aside, on a national level, this documentary fills me with disgust. I
Yeah.
am absolutely sickened by the way that Canadian journalism has been perverted
I
in
think that
order
was kind
to
of
go
evil.
after them.
If
Yeah,
I'm going to be
absolutely.
perception of whatever the fuck that was, is that it appeared to me to be evil.
Yeah. And again, the reason I'm having other people who are not of my faith on here, so other members of my faith know that when they feel that disgust, it's not just them. It really isn't.
Yeah, well, you could. Yeah, that was a hit piece. A
Yeah,
hit piece that had no evidence for the claims it was making beyond here is my feelings. And the feelings can be valuable in certain contexts, for sure. But when you're making serious claims about a religion being a evil cult, you need something more than, well, I didn't like that I gave them money.
Or they're more
voluntarily.
successful than me.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Very
They're better at
weird.
managing money than the people that we get bribed by.
I mean, I'm just saying
Like
it sounds a little bit
that's really
like
my takeaway from that whole Apple thing and everything. Like, oh, they invest their money better
well,
than we do in Apple and stuff. Yeah.
could you now? I know that it's always like, could you imagine if things were the other way around? Here lies conservatism. Could you imagine if it had been framed as, wow, it's really frustrating that they're more successful than me, applied to the Jews?
Oof.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
look at
what?
this! Look at this synagogue! Look at how much money they spent on it! Look at how rich they are! Oh,
Do you want to
you
hear
wouldn't want to
something?
say that, would you?
Well, do you want to hear something incredibly hilarious? The
Mhm.
Salt Lake Tribune is an anti-Mormon rag. It's
Oh, really?
everyone
Not surprised, but-
everyone who's even been closely reading the Salt Lake Tribune knows it's an anti-Mormon rag. And what is hilarious is when they went after polygamy. And the first thing they had to include was an op-ed from a Muslim.
Okay, because like I also find the polygamy thing weird. I don't know how much time you guys got left, but I have to go pee again.
I'm good for. I'd say I can give you at least a half an hour.
Yeah, that's about all I can give y'all either. But
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right.
And I'm going to need to go for a cigarette when she comes back. I'm starting to Jones again.
Does she really want to cover polygamy when she gets back?
I have no idea. Maybe
Good
she's
Lord.
looking for sister wives. I don't know.
Poor Bill. Poor Bill.
Depending on the opinion, it might be, Lucky Bill. I don't know.
No. I don't know if you understand patriarchal polygamy.
I
Poor Bill.
really. Oh, good point. He's got to pay for all that shit.
Not only does he have to pay for all that shit, it's not just okay.
So actually, that is something I was going to ask about because I'm a bit confused on the subject of polygamy. Is it accepted in the church, or is it just accepted by part of the church, or?
Okay. Let me say this equivocally right now. Anyone who currently practices polygamy under a religious context and calls themselves Mormon, Latter-day Saint, fundamentalist, so on and so forth, they are not fundamentalists. They are not originals. They are apostates.
Okay.
Clear and simple.
So the church's view on polygamy is no, stop that.
Yes. If you practice polygamy, you are an apostate.
Okay.
Nephite, as a descendant of a polygamist, if you're currently practicing, apostate.
Okay.
Now,
polygamy? No,
polygamy.
another word.
All right, so Aydin,
Mm-hmm.
you had questions about polygamy. Let's just knock one out.
How does it work? I mean, I don't. I think that is
when a daddy loves a woman.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I don't think that is.
Okay.
I don't
I'll
see
be back
any
with that.
evidence. Now, I'm asking for your opinion because I don't see anything in any of the Torah nor in the scripture that shows any evidence for that being, because it should be, as far as I understand, between a man and a woman. So
yes.
I don't know if you have. What is the to me, I that is where my big issue with Mormonism in the past has come into it as a disagreement religiously
Okay.
and functionally.
Let me clarify something. That
Mhm.
if you are a Latter-day Saint or claiming to be, and you practice polygamy, what you are is an apostate.
Okay.
We do not practice polygamy. It was a tool, very much in the same way that it was anciently. Polygamy was a tool to basically it was welfare. It was welfare for women.
Okay.
And when the church was restored, there were times when men would be called off on missions, men would die, and we lived in a society where
Understandable.
women couldn't own land.
Yeah, of course.
Women couldn't vote. Women couldn't.
I agree with that.
Okay, and here's what you have to understand. Along with polygamy, Latter-day Saint suffrage in the West,
Hmm.
what came 70 years sooner than on the East Coast. Women could vote in the Utah Territory.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason for that is because what grew on the East Coast was an abomination. They did it from the parlor rooms of their wealthy husbands, who were essentially their second fathers.
Hmm. Yeah.
But a woman who was a pioneer, who came with her husband across the plains and into the Sierra Nevadas. This was a woman with whom the man had to rebuild civilization with one another from the ground up.
Understandable.
And these
in that
women,
position, yeah.
these women voted to keep polygamy alive because they understood what it was. And you have to understand that if it was due to perversion or fetish, go look up Joseph Smith's list of wives. You'll see two inserts where there's a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Uh-huh.
And that's, hang on, it was because either their father had died, he was sent off on some task, and their mother couldn't inherit any land or whatnot.
Did he consummate with the 13 and 14-year-old?
I honestly don't know.
That's where I start to get a little bit real skeeved out.
However, two things. The next wife after that, guess how old she was?
I mean, I guess 30.
No.
Oh, no.
53.
Okay.
Which back then was practically geriatric.
Yeah, exactly. But this is something a little bit Muhammad to me, right? And I
don't think
things were different. Things were different in the past for sure, and in ways that that our modern sensibilities are a little bit different towards. However, where I get, I don't know if it's concerned, but it's okay if it's anything. Let's leave the children out of it, which I know that I don't think there's any marrying of 13 and 14-year-olds, is there? In the LDS? I don't think so.
Today, no, never.
No.
And I think that even back then, it was more of an economic practice.
And it was different. It was not everyone, but it was not uncommon to marry when you off 13, 14. Yes. So I know. So I'm coming at it from a modern day mentality. And again, as someone who's not involved, I've seen like these reality shows where it's here's me and my 8 wives, and that's now you saying that is not normal is not what is portrayed. So why is that? Why is it allowed? How are these people? Are they not excommunicated by just?
They are.
They
Every
are.
single one of them is excommunicated. They're part of a different faith.
Portray. Okay, I didn't know that. So
Yeah,
they've been the people who are going out into the world and being like, "Here's me and my 8 wives, and I got another one, and it's now I've got one. She's 16, and they're doing that stuff."
They are all apostates.
Oh wow. Okay.
They are all from their own quote unquote fundamentalist version, and they're not fundamentalist.
Yeah.
The core doctrine that came with the restoration is revelation.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Lord reveals you will practice polygamy, he has the moral impetus to say, no more. And if the Lord says no more, that is no more.
How do you know when that's revealed?
He has a prophet who says it.
Okay.
So when Joseph Smith said, "Yeah, we got to cross the plains. We have issues
Sure.
with inheritance. Well, we need to. Our men are dying.
Mm-hmm.
We have to repopulate. We're going to move across." These people bled, sweat, and
Oh, for sure. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Incomprehensible.
it was literally an extermination.
Yeah.
A legal extermination. And so, and after that, the United States declared war on them, which,
Yeah.
So, yeah, an official declaration one is when we ended polygamy. It was an official declaration, like that proclamation that was posted in the comments as well. These are official marks that say, okay, polygamy is done. The revelation has come down, and it is discontinued. So when you defy the revelation, you are no longer part of the orthodoxy. You are apostate.
Okay. But such a revelation has not yet come down.
Wait, come again?
Such a revelation has not yet come down to end polygamy.
No. Official declaration one is that revelation.
Oh, okay. So you don't do it anymore.
No.
So these people who are doing it on TV and stuff are fucking up.
Exactly.
Okay.
They are all apostates. They are all not part of the faith.
Oh wow. This is some mad fucking bullshit. I didn't know this. That is some mad propaganda, isn't it then?
Yeah.
Which trust me, that the mainstream left loves to mock Christians of any denomination.
And
they love it.
They love to lump the primary church, the main church, the church that is responsible for all the charity, all of the good, all of the welfare, the investments, and all of that. They like to conflate that with the polygamists, and we are not even on the same level.
And well, that documentary just said that all your good that you did was actually bad. Oh my God! I've fallen for this.
Yeah,
clearly, this is a successful propaganda campaign.
It is. It is. Anti-Mormon propaganda is the most successful form of propaganda that you've ever seen.
I'm not. I was gonna say I was shocked, and I'm like, no, of course that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Of course, this is what's happened.
It's kind of interesting, and it might be a point of interest for you guys. There is a theory that Aisha, the woman that, the girl that Muhammad married, there is a competing theory which has been ruled either apostasy or heresy, that she was haram. Yeah, she was. She may in fact have been significantly older and past the age of marriage, and that Muhammad had married her in order to do something similar to what Nephite has mentioned, that Zane mentioned, taking care of children. The idea being then that it was post-check and changed in order to make Muhammad look less impure.
It's normative within Islam to say that he did not consummate the marriage with Aisha. She was, I think, nine, and then he didn't consummate until she was 13.
No,
but
it's six to marry, and then 9 for the consummation is the official.
Was it 9 that they consummated?
As I understand it, yeah.
It's been years since I've studied this.
Yeah, and my point being that these ages were massively subtracted from in order to say that there was no chance that she was not a virgin when they got married, and therefore Muhammad was not defiling himself or whatever number of weirdnesses they want to go.
Well, what do you mean defiling himself? His first wife was a widow, meaning she inherently had fucked other dudes.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, his first wife, the reason that Muhammad was able to go on his pilgrimage is because his first wife was the widow of a wealthy merchant.
No, that part I didn't know either.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. His first wife, his main wife, was the widow of a wealthy merchant who funded his entire campaign to go around preaching about his dreams.
Okay.
Yeah, that's and you also have to understand it was common knowledge that when Joseph Smith and Brigham Young were polygamous. Brigham Young had many wives that he took care of. He called them spinster wives, where he would essentially go and just see them on their deathbed, and they would they were like his advisors, his female compatriots. He never consummated any of these marriages. They were simply for their own material
Material, yeah, okay.
To provide for
I,
them.
it's still, it skeeves me the wrong way.
Well,
but all of this stuff also I'm looking at from a 21st century perspective,
Yeah.
which, okay, some things about Muhammad, yeah, that's not from a 21st century perspective, the stuff that skeeves me out about Muhammad. I didn't know that. Who told you that shit about how it didn't matter because he hadn't consummated, because they hadn't consummated with anyone else? It was pure.
I
No,
believe
he
that was
married
something
multiple
I
women
came
who had
across
had
online.
previous husbands, by the way. So that shit's complete nonsense. That's just historical on the most basic level. Historical nonsense. Absolute sillyhood.
I
So-
suspect it may have been Muslim propaganda. In that case.
Probably. I don't know why they would even tell you that's propaganda, because it's actually against even what they believe. So that doesn't make any sense. Not just what they
Alright.
believe; it's against all history.
So-
So, ooh well.
But yes, that was the Mormon hit piece, and it had to be addressed. It had to be taken apart, and
It was very dumb.
It was very dumb, and we award them no points. That they get full Fetterman marks.
Yes,
and
we're all dumber for having listened to it.
You never go full Fetterman.
Never go full Fetterman.
Never go full Fetterman. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to let you go. It is
Hell
late. It's
yeah.
been a long stream.
Yeah,
thank
sorry.
you both for joining me. It has been awesome. Everyone, good night.
Night.
Good night, all.